respected Vinita Deshmukh ma'am, and all the team members of Moneylife Foundation, also faculty members and the students. I would like to say few words about Moneylife Foundation, who has organized this function for us. Moneylife Foundation is an NGO engaged in spreading financial literacy, consumer awareness and advocacy, and works towards safe and fair market practices through workshops, roundtable meetings, white papers, research, awareness campaigns, grievance redressal and counseling. We take pride in being fiercely independent, non-partisan and always pro-saver. To date, they have conducted more than 455 sessions, seminars and workshop events mainly focused on RTI, financial literacy and consumer awareness among others. Membership to Moneylife Foundation is free and we urge you to join over 1,17,000 others if you are not already a member. Now, I would like to introduce respected Shailesh Gandhi sir. Shailesh Gandhi sir has the unique distinction of being the first RTI activist to have been appointed as a Central Information Commissioner. He is first generation entrepreneur in plastic packaging and was CMD of Clear Plastics Limited. Mr. Gandhi was part of National RTI movement which was involved in drafting the National Act. He was convener of the National Campaign for People's Right to Information. Over the years, he has used RTI and also trained many citizens and government officials in over 1,000 workshops to use it. While serving as Central Information Commissioner, Mr. Gandhi has created a unique record. He successfully disposed more than 20,000 cases over a period of 2 years and 9 months and has ensured decision on matters in less than 90 days. He has delivered many landmark decisions on RTI apart from organizing the first digital paperless office and commission. He is passionately pursuing the cause of involving ways for a time-bound justice delivery system and improving governance systems. He is also the author of Rti Act, authentic interpretation of the statute. I would now call upon respected Shailesh Gandhi sir to share his views and opinions with us.
I'm an old man, and while coming to Pune, I forgot something, so I thought I'll take your help. Which is the world's largest democracy?
Yeah.
Sure?
Yes.
When I was in school, I was taught that democracy is rule of the people, for the people, by the people. Is that definition correct? Do you think it is your rule? No, you really believe it's your rule. If you go to a government office, are you respected like a ruler? Anyone there? If you go to a government office, are you respected as a ruler of this country? An average citizen, when he or she goes to a government office, comes out feeling humiliated, frustrated and angry. Then how are we a democracy? Forget being the world's largest democracy. Are we a democracy? Is it's not your rule. Is it rule of the people? It's not rule of the people. Then how is it a democracy, my friends? We call it a democracy because we have a reasonably fair system of elections. We are able to change leaders and governments through our elections. I would submit to you that having a fair system of elections and a constitution are necessary conditions for a democracy, but are not the complete set of conditions. The heart and essence of democracy is the concept that each individual citizen is a sovereign in her own right, and she gives a part of the sovereignty to the state in return for which she gets the rule of law. Sovereignty of the individual is the key to a democracy. Sovereignty of the individual human being is the key to all human rights, not just democracy. Unless we have acceptance of respect for human beings, we cannot have a democracy. We cannot even have basic human rights. Because unless each human being respects the other, because he or she is a human being, not because he or she is got a degree, got a house, got money, got a car, nothing. The fact that you are a human being, you deserve respect. And that is the essence. In India, who owns whose government? Any idea? Any clues? Whose government? Louder, louder. Let's exchange views. Come. Why don't you all come and sit a little in the front? You all looking very scared of me. Would you like to shift? No? Okay, fine. No, I was also a backbencher, so not an issue. We talk of government. Who is government? In a democracy, who is government? The people of India are the government, not the majority party. The majority party is legitimized by you and me. It is the citizen who rules the government. Democracy is rule of the people, for the people, by the people. And by the time we finish this talk today, I'm hoping that each one of you will start believing that you are the sovereign of India. In Hindi we use the word Lokshahi. Lokshahi means logo ki shahenshahi. You friend, if you go to a government office, should feel like a Badshah. You miss should feel like a Begum when you go to a government office. And this is not just for saying. While I was talking like this in one college, one young student got up and said, Mr. Gandhi, ये आपकी बातें तो बड़ी चिकनी चुपड़ी लगती है, सबको बादशाह बेगम बना दिया. 130 करोड़ बादशाह और बेगम से देश चल सकता है क्या? What do you think? The truth is, in democracies, it actually does. And I'd like to give you two examples of this and then we'll move on. The first example I'm giving you is the United States of America. I'm not saying everything there is good, but in terms of democracy, they have a 2-century lead over us. An immigrant in the United States of America, coming from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, China, wherever, if he or she has applied for the green card to be able to work there, or citizenship of the United States, will very easily pick up a telephone and ask about the status of the application. Whether the application is okay, when is it likely to be considered, whether there are any defects and so on and so forth. And 99%, he'll get a perfectly correct answer from the other side of the phone. You are all first-rate citizens of India. If you applied for change of address in your ration card and you don't get a reply, will you pick up the phone to ask? Because you are confident that कोई जवाब ही नहीं देगा, या तो कोई फोन ही नहीं उठाएगा और उठा लिया तो he will say तुम होते कौन हो, तुम क्या कलेक्टर हो, क्या मिनिस्टर हो, वहाँ बैठे बैठे पूछते हो. Even if you go to the office, your chance of getting a rational answer are 50-50. That is what a democracy is all about. That is what human rights is all about. The second example I'd like to give you is a story all of you have heard before, but I'd like to give you a slightly different perspective to this. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi got inside that train in South Africa 125 years back. He had a first-class ticket, but a white man objected and therefore he was taken off the train. In that same story is written that Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi complained about what had happened to him in a telegram. And in 12 to 14 hours time, a railway official came and put him on the next train. I am sure all of you recognize that today, 125 years later, in India, you are a first-rate citizen. If you file a complaint with the railways, in 12 to 14 days, if you get an acknowledgement, you will be very happy. Forget getting redressal for your problem. That is the key to a democracy. You are the Badshahs and Begums and you must start believing that. Badshahs and Begums have duties and responsibilities. Shivaji Maharaj, if something went wrong, did not say, I am the Badshah and I am the king of this place, so I don't care. He would go and address that issue. And that is also part of your job. What has this got to do with right to information, you may wonder? Right to information is that tool that empowers individual citizens If today if a major catastrophe hits Pune and all of you, 100,000 of you collect together, the best that you will be able to get is a transfer of a public servant. Here is a law that says, because your right was not recognized properly, a public servant is liable to pay a personal penalty of up to 25,000 rupees. This recognizes the sovereignty of the individual. Brief history. The first such law, transparency law, was enacted in Sweden on 2nd December 1776, 250 years back. After that, for nearly 1.5 centuries, no other country enacted such a law. In the last century, now we've got over 120 countries having such transparency laws. They are known by 3 names: Freedom of Information (FOI), Access to Information (ATI), and Right to Information (RTI). These are synonymous words for the same transparency law. They recognize that government belongs to people, that people are the rulers of the government, and therefore everything that belongs to government belongs to you. In India, when did the first movement start? We credit Rajasthan as being the first place where the RTI movement started, somewhere in the early 90s, 91, 92. A group of 3 very interesting people. Aruna Roy was an IAS officer who gave up her job. Nikhil Day, a young lawyer, 20 years younger to her, who had got his law degree from US, and Shankar Singh, a person who was staying in that area, in the village, got together and said, let's explain democracy to the people of this area, and they are working there ever since. So they explained to people that you are the kings and queens. And the story goes that one evening at a Chauraha, a group of young people were sitting and talking about the corruption in government. My assessment shows that all Indian citizens crib for at least 3 to 4 hours every month about what is wrong. So they were also cribbing. Government ka paisa kha jata hai, it doesn't get delivered, work does not do, the government doesn't work, so on and so forth. There was an 80-year-old lady, illiterate. So she said, look, all of you understand how to read and write. Why don't you go and get the hisab of the government's expenses in our village for the last 2 years? They said, who will show it to us? This was 1990. Nobody will show us this record. And this old lady made a statement that always makes me feel very proud. She said, without batting an eyelid, she said, ये लोकशाही है, मैं इस देश की रानी हूँ. अगर मैं इस देश की रानी हूँ तो जो पैसा खर्च होता है वो मेरा है. अगर पैसा मेरा खर्च होता है तो हिसाब लेना मेरा अधिकार है. People thought it made some sense. They went to the block development officer's office and said, we want to look at the accounts. The block development officer threw them out. They said, तुम होते कौन हो? They started a dharna there. The collector came, the minister came, and at the end of about 15 days dharna, the papers were shown to these people. They showed some corruption of a minor nature, and therefore started the RTI movement in India. It has a slogan that came out of this old lady's statement. She had said, "Paisa mera hai, hisab lena mera adhikar hai." So this slogan became, "Hamara paisa, हमारा हिसाब." Should we say it? पुणे में लोग चिल्ला के बोलते हैं कि नहीं यंग बच्चे? छाती में दम है? I will say हमारा पैसा, you will say हमारा हिसाब, and let's see how loud you can say this with conviction. हमारा पैसा, हमारा हिसाब. मजा नहीं आया? हमारा पैसा, हमारा हिसाब. Good. Now we are talking to the Badshahs and Begums of this nation who own the government of India. You own the government, this is democracy. Small question, if we own government, is that right? Do you agree we own the government? Yes. हमारा पैसा है, सब कुछ हमारा है. Every table, tube light, chair in the government belongs to us. Right or wrong? Yes, good. Every tank, gun, car, motorcycle in the government belongs to us, right? If I like a car, can I take it home? Why not? If it belongs to me, you said it belongs to us, all of us. Can you take it home? Why not? Vinita, you got that bag with you, right? Who? Can you take it home?
It's mine, yes.
It's mine. But if the car, the government is mine, everything that belongs to government is mine, then why can't I take it home?
That is governor's property.
Whose government?
Governors.
Who? Governor is my representative. It is not his property. It is my property. I own the government. I am the ruler of the government. The governor is designated by me. The government is designated by a president who is elected by a parliament who I elect. Government is nobody without me. The reason I can't take it home is because it's in partnership with 130 crore other Indians. Therefore, I can't take it home. But pause for a while. All the information in the files, the computers, tables also belongs to me. And if that information is given to me, it does not deprive anyone else. Therefore, all information, the default mode is it belongs to me, it must be given to me. When you own something, that ownership means you have a right over it. And you have a right over all the information in the government, and that is what the Rti Act recognizes. This is a fundamental right under Article 19(1)(a) of the Constitution, and this came about on 26 January 1950, the day the Constitution of India was made. But there was no codification. The Right to Information Act, which became a national act in 2005, codified this right as to how to get information, where will you get information, what information will you get, and so on and so forth, which we'll look at. Believe me, this is a very simple law. I believe there are some law students here today in this audience. Are there any law students? Okay. But here's my guarantee to you. I know very little of this law, and all of you will learn this as much as I do, whether you are from the law faculty or not. It is very simple, and laws are meant to be understood by citizens if they are to use them. So let's now look into the Right to Information Act 2005. We look at some of the key provisions, simple English, all of you can understand. If you don't understand anything, raise your hand and tell me. The fault is mine if you don't understand. We talk of right to information. What is information? The description is given here. But in very simple terms, information must exist. What exists is information, what does not exist is not information. If you ask a government, what is your record? I want a copy of that photo record, that should come to you. But if you ask them, if I apply for a water connection, will it be given to me? That will not be given because that's not information. There is nothing on record to show whether water connection will be given to you or not until you apply. If you say, what is the meaning of this law? That is not information. Information is what exists. So whenever you are seeking information, remember what you will seek is information that is on record. Who has to give information? The law defines what's called public authorities. This is different from the state. Public authorities and state are not equivalent. They are completely different concepts. Public authority means any authority or body or institution of self-government established or constituted by or under the Constitution, by any other law made by Parliament, by any other law made by state legislature. A, B and C cover everything that we normally call government. State government, central government, panchayats, municipal corporations, municipalities, all of these are public authorities and you have the right to get information that is on their records. By notification issued or order made by the appropriate government. Deemed universities are created by a notification issued by the government and therefore they are public authorities as defined in the law. And includes any body owned, controlled or substantially financed, non-government organization substantially financed directly or indirectly by funds provided by the appropriate government. When this law came, I asked the Chief Minister's Relief Fund for details of accounts where they had given over 50,000 rupees in a year and the purpose for which it was given. The Chief Minister's Relief Fund office sent me a response saying, we are not a public authority, we are a private trust. Can you believe it? The Chief Minister's Relief Fund being a private trust? Then we had to fight to get it accepted, and ultimately it was accepted. Now from the Chief Minister's Relief Fund you can get information because that is information that belongs to us. Chief Minister's Relief Fund is a public authority. The money is ours, the office is ours, everything is ours. Most public-private partnerships like to believe they are not under RTI and are not public authorities. But the truth is they are all public authorities and are subject to the Right to Information Act. A peculiar case, some of you may have read about it in the last 2 months. The Chief Justice Office's RTI had come in the newspapers. Have some of you read it? Yes. So it was made out as if it's a great progressive ruling. The truth is, the Prime Minister's office was always under RTI, the President's office was always under RTI. When information was sought from the Chief Justice's office, they said we are not under RTI, as if they are something unique. And they took 10 years to acknowledge a very simple fact that they are under RTI. Everything where it is my money, मेरा पैसा है, मैं हिसाब दूंगा. What does right to information mean? Right to information means the right to information accessible under this Act, which is held by or under the control of any public authority, and includes the right to inspection of work, documents, records. You can inspect files, you can inspect work, you can inspect documents. Pune Municipal Corporation, every Monday afternoon, you can walk into the corporation office and say, I want to look at this file, and you will be given that file to see without any RT application also. Taking notes, extracts or certified copies of documents or records. You take photocopies of records, you can take extracts out of records and so on. Taking certified samples of material. You can also take samples. For example, if you believe that a government hospital has got fake drugs, you can take samples and get it tested. If you believe the concrete in a road construction is of poor quality, you can take a sample, get it tested and prove that. Obtain information in the form of diskettes, floppies, etc., etc. CCTV footage is also covered, and that can be a vital source of information for a lot of things. Today there are CCTV cameras in roads and various places. So to prove a point or to show what happened at a particular place, all CCTV footage can be accessed in RTI. The most important of the RTI Act provisions is Section 3, it's the shortest. Subject to the provisions of this Act, all citizens shall have the right to information. Who has the right to information? All citizens of India. Every citizen, because the information belongs to you. Can any information be denied? What do you think? Yes. If information belongs to me, why should it be denied to me? Sorry? National security, fair enough. National security. So there are, though the default mode is all information belongs to me, I am the ruler of this country, all information must be shared with me, but a few exceptions which are given in the Section 8.1 which we'll deal with. There are 10 exemptions, except that all other information has to be given to me. The default mode is subject to the provisions of this Act. Denial of information can also be only subject to the provisions of this Act, nowhere else. Therefore, 10 exemptions under Section 8.1 and Section 9. Section 9 deals with copyright. You cannot ask the censor board to give you the DVD of a film because that would be violation of somebody's copyright. Apart from that, Section 8.1, and we'll deal with it, usko chhod ke some information belongs to you and must be given to you. Now let's do a small quiz just to see whether I have been able to explain things properly or not. This is not a test for you, it's a test for me. If I, Aji is seeking information, if I apply for a water connection, will it be granted to me? No, that's right. Why does Tirupati Bapat Mark have many potholes? Is this seeking information? No. Wonderful. I want a clarification about section so and so. Is that seeking information? Wonderful. Can this be done? Taking a sample from a government godown? Yes. Great. Filing a RT application with Nirav Modi's companies? No. Nirav Modi's company is not a public authority as defined in the Act. Though you will say, paisa to hamara hi hai. But that's indirect. It's not directly there. Therefore, you can't. 25% of RTI you know now, and I'm able to communicate. Okay. Who has to? Heart of the Rti Act is section 4. The presumption is, since all information belongs to citizens, all information should be available even without an RT application, suo motu as it is called. However, this has not been followed as well as it should, and Vinita after me will be dealing with section 4. But I want to read this before you. Maintain all its records duly catalogued and indexed in a manner and form which facilitates the right to information under this Act, and ensure that all records that are appropriate to be computerized are within a reasonable time and subject to availability of resources, computerized and connected through a network all over the country on different systems so that access to such records is facilitated. 14 years since the Act, nearly 15 years now, since the Act was enacted. This was a promise, and I want to draw your attention to something that can have a vital bearing on the way the country's governance functions. It said appropriate to be computerized are within a reasonable time and subject to availability of resources computerized and connected through a network all over the country. All government offices today have computers. There is a network. Today we do a credit card transaction or a Paytm transaction in various small towns also. What is the significance of this, my friends? Let me explain to you, and please listen very carefully. This is very important, not just for RTI, for the entire governance of the nation. A common occurrence is when a citizen goes to a government office, file bhetat nahi, right? 200 रुपया दिया तो फाइल मिल जाती है, 500 रुपया दिया तो रिकॉर्ड बंदी हो जाता है, 1000 रुपया दिया तो फाइल गायब हो जाती है, और थोड़ा पैसा दिया तो मंत्रालय में आग लग जाती है. All of this can become history. 30% of India's corruption will disappear if we computerize everything. They do all typing. Most government offices use a computer as an electric typewriter. So they type everything on that. If all the work was done electronically and there was only an electronic file and no paper files. Let's say a file originates in Pune and it has to go to Mantralaya, it has to physically travel right now. The paper file physically travels. So just think of what it means. It has to travel to Mantralaya in Mumbai. Or let me go one step behind. Supposing a municipal corporation in Pune originates a file, it has to go to the collector. It has to go physically. From there it has to go to Mantralaya physically. From there if it has to go to Delhi, it has to go physically. And you can't have one person for each file running every time a file is generated. Therefore, and in this journey, there are lots of opportunities to change records, manipulate records, lose files and so on and so forth. If, on the other hand, only an electronic file was generated with no paper file, it could get transmitted 4 places, 5 places, 10 places across the nation within half an hour. That is the difference that can be made to the entire way the government of India works, the entire way the state government works, the entire way our municipal corporation works. The efficiency of working would go up phenomenally. And the backup could be there in another city, so that no change can be made. If any change is made, it can be tracked. This is easily possible. And at least 30% of our corruption would go down. Friends, all of you need to agitate for this. You need to put a demand and make it your right. This is your government. And say everything must be on a computer. It will save a few thousand crore rupees worth of paper and files. A comparable amount of money is spent to keep those files. And a lot of money is spent to locate those files. All of this can change. And Section 4 has other provisions also, which, as I said, Vinita will deal with. Section 5 and 6 say now, fair enough, I have a right to information. Who should I ask information from? The law says every office of a public authority has to have a public information officer. Every office. So you don't have to figure out who the public information officer is. Do you need to know his name? The answer is no. Do you need to know his designation? The answer is no. You address a RT application to the public information officer at a public authority's office. Think first of which office is likely to have the information. Likely to. It may or may not. If it has the information, the public information officer must get the information from the other officers also and give it to you within 30 days. If it is with another office, with another public authority, he cannot return the RT application to you and say, you go there. You are the Badshah or Begum of this nation. It is the public information officer who must transfer the RT application within 5 days to any other office. Now Section 6(2) says, application must be in English, Hindi or the local language along with the application fee of ₹10. The answer will be in the language of choice of the officer. You cannot dictate and say, I am filing in English, therefore I must get a response in English. Or I am filing in Marathi, therefore I must get a response in Marathi. The response will be in any one of these 3 languages. Section 6(2) says an applicant making request for information shall not be required to give any reason for requesting the information or any other personal details except those that may be necessary for contacting him. I sometimes feel this is not a fair provision. What do you think? बिना कारण सरकार को परेशान करने का? What is no? Is this a reasonable provision or should it be removed? Louder! It's a reasonable provision. बिना कारण information मांगने का reasonable है. The Chief Justice of India didn't think so. You are right. We are now dealing with the Badshahs and Begums of this nation. Why should you have a reason to ask? It is yours. It is part of a fundamental right under Article 19(1)(a), which covers freedom of speech and expression. I can speak, I can publish, I can get information from government. For all these, I need to give no reason. If I am asked to give reasons for seeking information or right to information, tomorrow the day will come when I'll have to seek information. I'll have to seek permission to speak. I'll have to seek permission to publish something. I can say what I want because I have the right. I am a human being and this right is given to me by my constitution. If information is not available, PIO must transfer application 5 days to the appropriate public authority. RT application cannot be returned saying हमारे पास information नहीं है. It is his responsibility to transfer it to the authority that has the information. Information has to be provided within 30 days or rejected giving reasons under Section 8 or 9 only. Only under Section 8 or 9 can a rejection be done. Nobody can say this is confidential and refuse to give it to me. The reasons have to be given only under Section 8 or 9. Additional fee at ₹2 per page. If information given after 30 days, this fee cannot be charged. If the information we are seeking is, let's say, 100 pages, the PIO can ask you to pay 200 rupees at ₹2 per page. But if over 30 days have elapsed, for whatever reason, the PIO must give you the information free of charge. Even if it's 1,000 pages, he cannot charge you 2,000 rupees. He has to give the information to you. PIO must give information or reject the request giving reasons. And the reasons are only, I repeat, it is important to understand, reasons are only in Section 8 and 9. No other reason is permissible. Information provided in the form in which it is sought, unless it would disproportionately divert resources. If you say, I wanted a hard disk, information can be provided to you provided the material is on the computer. If it's on a paper copy, it cannot be converted just because you sought that. period, it's worthwhile understanding. PIO receives the RTI application is day 1. Not the day that you made the RTI application, the day the PIO received is day 1. PIO sends letter asking additional fees, 30-day clock stops. Additional fees paid, 30-day clock starts again. Information sent after Y days. X plus Y less than or equal to 30 days. In case of a transfer, information must be provided in 35 days. In less than 35 days, information must be given to you. Let's try this now. See, now we are graduating. If the information is a different PIO department, the RT application can be returned. Yes or no? No. Great. Thoda जोर से यार. I would feel nice that you really understood what I am talking, what nonsense I am talking. Reasons have to be given for seeking information. No. Great. PIO must respond to the language which the applicant wants. No. Great. If information is confidential, it will not be given. Yes. No. Only under section 8 and 9 will information, nobody can say this is confidential, hence I will not give it. Out of the question. It must be justified. Denial has to be justified only by section 8 or 9. 9 is copyright, 8 we'll deal with. A newspaper can seek information in RTI. Yes. No. It is a right of citizens. A newspaper, which is natural citizens of India, any person can do it, but an NGO cannot do it, a company cannot do it, a newspaper cannot do it. PIO can demand rupees 100 for providing 50 pages of information 40 days after receiving the RT application. Great. If the information is with another public authority, the PIO can return the application. Wonderful. This is the confidence, this is the empowerment of the citizen. 50% you know the Rti Act as well as I do. Now, we are going to deal with the exemptions in the law, but I'd just like you to take a look at this. RTI is a fundamental right of citizens under Article 19(1)(a) of the Constitution, which guarantees freedom of speech and expression. Supreme Courts, in various decisions over the years, have recognized that right to information and right to publish also fall under Article 19(1)(a). Can any restriction be put on my freedom of speech under Article 19(1)(a)? That what can be denied to me is given in Article 19(2). If any bar is there on a right that I have under the Constitution, that bar has to be in the Constitution of India. Parliament also cannot make a law which is not in the Constitution barring my freedom. So Article 19(2) of the Constitution permits reasonable restrictions in the interest of the sovereignty and integrity of India, the security of the state, friendly relations with foreign states, public order, decency or morality, or in relation to contempt of court, defamation or incitement to an offence. The right to speech, publish and information all arise from Article 19(1)(a) and should be subject to the same restrictions under Article 19(2). This is very important to understand. Quite often people deal with RTI and say, "Ye nahi dega." Am I allowed to publish that? If I am allowed to publish that, I am allowed to seek information on that. A newspaper, in simple terms, might say that there is an allegation that somebody was taking a bribe. His name will be there, his designation will be there. He was caught. The same information, if it's on government records, must be given to me because that is information that can be published. What I can speak about, that also is information that I must be given in RTI. This is not understood and therefore a strong narrative is being built saying that RTI cannot have the same status as freedom to publish and freedom of speech. It has to have the same status. Now we come to the exemptions. Notwithstanding anything contained in this Act, there shall be no obligation to give any citizen information disclosure of which would prejudicially affect the sovereignty and integrity of India, the security, strategic, scientific or economic interests of the state, relation with foreign state or lead to incitement of an offence. If something would harm the sovereignty of the country, like you all rightly pointed out, the army formations of the army. Army is part of RTI, but if you say, I want army formations, I want to know the weapons in various places, this would not be given to you. Information which has been expressly forbidden to be published by any court of law or tribunal or the disclosure of which may constitute contempt of court. By virtue of 8(1)(b), if a matter is sub judice, can information be given, yes or no? No. Sure. लिखा है क्या कानून में ऐसा? Is the word sub judice mentioned anywhere? Parliament knew the word sub judice. Parliament did not ban sub judice information. Parliament only said expressly forbidden to be published by any court of law or tribunal. A court or tribunal should say this information shall not be released to public. Otherwise, all the information belongs to you. We've got a big hour of just sub judice matters. The truth is, what it means is when a matter is sub judice, nobody can take a decision on that. Information can be accessed and must be accessed. Nobody can deny information saying this matter is sub judice, hence I will not give information. Information, the disclosure of which would cause breach of privilege of Parliament or the state legislature. What kind of information is this? For example, budget papers before the budget is announced to the Parliament cannot be given to you. Commission of Inquiry reports are meant to be put on the floor of the Parliament or the state legislature within 6 months. Therefore, before that it cannot be given to you. But I'd like to share a small incident of mine. Adarsh Gotala, have you all heard of? Yes, Gotala sab log sunte hain. So when the Adarsh scam broke, there was a lot of hullabaloo and the government appointed a commission of inquiry, which is a standard procedure. Kuch gadbad ho gaya to commission of inquiry and bhul jao fir. So they appointed a commission of inquiry. In 2 years they gave a report. That report named some ministers and some senior bureaucrats as having been guilty of inappropriate behavior. So what does the government do when it comes up with something like this? It just forgets the report. So they put the report in the cupboard and forgot all about it. I waited for 6 months. After 7 months, I filed an RT application saying I want a copy of the Adarsh Commission report. The PRO denied it, saying no, this is breach of privilege of legislature. It should be put in the floor of the legislature. I argued in the appeal that in 6 months you were supposed to put it on the floor of the legislature as per law. You have not done that. Therefore, you cannot claim breach of privilege. You already breached the privilege of legislature. This report was put on the floor of the legislature and a copy given to me. All commissions of inquiry reports can be accessed by you. They cannot deny these after 6 months. Information including commercial confidence, trade secrets or intellectual property, the disclosure of which would harm the competitive position of a third party. Supposing you ask the Food and Drug Administration for a copy of the formulation of Coca-Cola. It is information with government, but that cannot be given to you because it is in the nature of commercial confidence and it would hurt their competitive interest. Please remember, 2 conditions have to be satisfied. It should be of a nature of commercial confidence, which means information that is not shared normally. B, it must hurt somebody's competitive position. If it does not hurt somebody's competitive position, exemption cannot be claimed. By that logic, information regarding Air India or Bank of India can be barred on this ground. But information about the Indian Railways cannot be barred because Indian Railways has no competition. Similarly, when a tender is awarded, before the tender is awarded, information can be denied. Once a tender is awarded to a party, information regarding other tenders and prices and other things cannot be denied because nobody's competitive interest can now be hurt. Information received in confidence from information available to a person is fiduciary relationship. What is fiduciary? Louder! अरे लॉ स्कूल में कुछ पढ़ाते हैं कि नहीं? They are whispers right now. I can't hear. What is fiduciary? A lot of people would say position of trust. Is that right? It is, well, it's not wrong, but it's a small part of the story. And this, let me share with you, when I was a commissioner, the Reserve Bank of India People had asked Reserve Bank of India for details of NPAs, details of major defaulters, details of audit reports of Reserve Bank, of various banks, grading of banks and so on and so forth. The RBI had said, no, we will not give it because this is held by us in a fiduciary relationship. They said, trust hai hamare pe. 10 such matters came before me, and in all those I struck down the refusal and said information will have to be provided because this is not held by Reserve Bank in a fiduciary relationship. Trust is one element. The reasoning was simple. What are the traditional fiduciary relationships? A doctor-patient relation, a lawyer-customer relation, a banker-customer relation, these are fiduciary relationships in which someone gives information to someone else who has superior knowledge of a subject. For his or her benefit, if I go to a lawyer and give information regarding myself, I give it for my benefit. To a doctor, for my benefit. In a regulatory position, nobody is giving information to RBI for their benefit. They have to do it because there is a regulator, there is a law requiring them to give it. I have a choice of whom to give it to. I can choose my doctor, lawyer, banker. I have no choice in the matter of giving information to RBI. That's a law and I have to give it to him. It's a one-way relationship. Information that I give to RBI, information that I give to a lawyer, the lawyer cannot divulge to somebody else. But advice that he gives me, I can divulge with anyone else. So it's only a one-way relationship. And yes, I have trust in that person and therefore I give the information. In the case of RBI, the banks have no option. Even if they don't trust RBI, they'll have to give the information. Based on these considerations, I struck down the refusals and said all information must be given. They went to High Court, got stays on this. 2015 December, the Supreme Court gave a ruling saying that the Commission's decisions are right. All this information must be given. Unfortunately, the RBI has been defying the Supreme Court's order. They refused to give it. In April of this year, a contempt petition decision was given by the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, what can they do to RBI? Please understand, it's very difficult to do anything to RBI. So the Supreme Court said, we are warning RBI that if you continue like this, we'll have to take action. That's where the matter stands right now. But all of this is not fiduciary. If somebody claims an exemption, fight back, argue that this is not fiduciary, it must be given a reasoned argument. Information received in confidence from foreign government. This is the only place where the word confidence or confidentiality has been used. Therefore, if information is given by a foreign government and the PIO says this was given in confidence, no further arguments are there, and that's understandable because otherwise international relations would not be possible at all. Information, the disclosure of which would endanger the life or physical safety of any person or identify the source of information or assistance given in confidence for law enforcement or security purposes. If some information, release of which would endanger somebody's life or physical safety, that information can be denied. Information which would impede the process of investigation or apprehension or prosecution of offenders. If an investigation is ongoing, can information be given? Yes or no?
No.
जोर से ऐसा लिखा है क्या? My friends, why don't we read a law? This simple English. Parliament could have said, during an ongoing investigation, information shall not be given. Parliament said, impede the process of investigation. Therefore, to deny information under this clause, the PIO has to show that giving this information will impede the process of investigation. In 7 cases out of 10, the person seeking progress of an investigation is the complainant. To say that the complainant will impede the process of investigation is laughable. It is absurd. Just because an investigation is ongoing, information cannot be refused. Only the PIO would have to demonstrate and give some possible reasoning as to how it will impede giving the information. Otherwise, information has to be given. The default mode, every time think of it, information has to be given because I am the ruler. I own the information. Cabinet papers, including records of deliberations of the councils of ministers, secretaries and other officers. provided that the decisions of councils of ministers, the reasons thereof, and the material on the basis of which the decisions are taken, shall be made public after the decision has been taken and the matter is complete or over. This is a unique exemption. Cabinet papers are exempt until a decision is taken. In simple terms, let me tell you something that affects all of us. All bills that are placed by the government in parliament, there is a round of consultations, there is a cabinet note based on which the decision is taken. Once a bill is presented in parliament, it is parliament's property. The decision as far as the cabinet paper is concerned has been taken. Therefore, that is information that must be given to you if you seek that information. So moto, the law expects the government to disclose this information. If this law is properly followed, the moment a bill is presented in parliament within a week, this should be so moto made available to you. That is what the law really says. J is the most popular exemption of all. 50% rejections are because of J. Let's read this carefully. Information which relates to personal information, the disclosure of which has no relationship to any public activity or interest, or which would cause unwarranted invasion of the privacy of the individual, unless the PI is satisfied the large public interest justifies the disclosure of such information. Provided that the information which cannot be denied to the parliament or a state legislature shall not be denied to any person. Weigh this carefully. By this, can all personal information be denied? Yes or no? No. Wonderful. Believe me or not, you are smarter than a lot of government officers and commissioners. A lot of commissioners make the mistake, personal information they nahi denge. Naam hai, personal hai, it relates to a person. Your age is personal, the color of your hair is personal, your marks are personal, everything is personal, your weight is personal. But that is not exempt. Personal information, if it is personal information, it may qualify to be under 81J. The disclosure of which has no relationship to any public activity or interest. Most information in government records is the result of a public activity. Let me ask you, supposing you apply for a government job, is your application a public activity or a private activity?
Public.
There are two opinions. Okay. You file for a passport, is it a public activity or a private activity? Okay. I would claim it's a public activity because it is something to do with the general public, with the people of India. You are seeking a passport from the people of India. However, there are two opinions on that. Fair enough. Or which would cause unwarranted invasion of the privacy of the individual. What is privacy? Fundamental right. In the Puttaswamy judgment, the Supreme Court in a nine-judge bench ruled that privacy is a fundamental right of citizen. But, if you read the judgment, has any of you read the judgment? Probably not. The Supreme Court issues such long judgments ki koi padhta nahi. Anyway, this is a 547-page judgment, which has lots of philosophies, lot of theories, lot of gyan, but doesn't say what is privacy. So I have a situation where the Supreme Court says it develop on a case-to-case basis. How is a citizen to know what is privacy? How is a public information officer to know what is privacy? Law certainty is an essential part of any legal system anywhere in the world. Citizens must be reasonably certain that the law means this in most cases. Government officers must be reasonably certain that the law means this. Here we have a situation where the Supreme Court says, "Humko nahi malum hai, wo hum decide karenge time to time." We realized when we are drafting this law, we realized the problems associated with this clause, and therefore we provided an acid test, and I would like to read that to you. Provided that the information which cannot be denied to the parliament or a state legislature shall not be denied to any person. What does this mean? Anyone?
If the parliament or the state legislature asks for any information, if they can give the information to them, then that information.
How will beautifully. How will this be decided? In my opinion, the words are provided that the information which cannot be denied to the parliament. So when deny information to a citizen, whoever is denying must make a statement that I would not give this information to parliament.
He should prove that he cannot give the same information to the parliament as well.
He must state that. No. So if he rejects under 8.1J, he should state that I would not give this information, whether it's a public information officer, first appellate authority, information commission, or a judge. Any of them must, when asked, saying that information is exempt under 8.1J, should make that statement, which is not happening. It is illegal, unconstitutional. And let us look at, to get some help from the Constitution, on what permissible restrictions can be there. In the words, what will apply to privacy, can you figure out? Will interests of sovereignty and integrity of India relate to privacy? Sovereignty and integrity of India और privacy का कुछ लेना देना नहीं है दोस्त. Security of the state, friendly relations with foreign states, public order, none of these. Decency or morality, that has related to privacy. Something that is indecent or immoral should not be revealed. Sexual preferences should not be revealed. If somebody has been raped, details of this must not be given to parliament also. If there is a nude photograph in the records, it must not be given. If there is a pornographic film on the records, this must not be given. Something that will violate decency or morality. There is also subjectivity in that, but you cannot claim that giving the passport application would violate decency or morality. Therefore, I would submit, when interpreting the clause of privacy, section 8.1J, you must look at the Constitution, article 19.2, which is not happening today in the country. It's unfortunate. Like the Constitution is being breached, the law is being breached, and 8.1J is being very loosely used to deny lots of information, saying it's personal information, therefore we will not give it to you, which is wrong. Notwithstanding anything the Official Secrets Act nor any of the exemptions, a public authority may allow access to information. Now public interest has to be shown only if an exemption is applicable. Otherwise, no public interest needs to be shown. I can speak, I don't have to justify public interest. I can publish, I don't have to justify public interest. Public interest, however, supposing there is a larger public interest, there was a case in which the forest minister of Maharashtra, Swarup Singh Naik, had committed contempt of court, of the Supreme Court's order, and given lots of permissions illegally. The Supreme Court sentenced him to 30 days prison. He was taken to Thane prison. All VIP inmates of prisons, as soon as they get inside a prison, complain of pain. Pain where? Which side? Left side of the chest. This is common. So Swarup Singh Naik also thought that I must follow the tradition. Tradition hai bhai, acha tradition hai. So he also complained. He was promptly taken and put into JJ hospital in the ICU ward. First class, jackass room में air conditioning में रख दिया उसको. After 6 or 7 days, I filed an RT application asking for medical records of Swarup Singh Naik, in which I argued that this is exempt information. This is information that should not be given because it is held by the hospital in a fiduciary relationship and it is an intrusion on privacy. But there is a larger public interest because people believe that this is being faked. If this is true, the public would come to know that no, government is acting properly, officers are acting properly. If on the other hand this is false, he should be sent to prison and punished for a false report. This was a long battle, at the end of which ultimately the information was given to me on the ground that it is information that would not be denied to Parliament. Also that fact that this is information which is a larger public, there is larger public interest in disclosure than the harm to the protected interest. We skip this. Now there is something called a third party clause, section 11, where a PR intends to disclose any information or record or part thereof on a request made under this act which relates to or has been supplied by a third party and has been treated as confidential by that third party, the PIO shall, within 5 days from the receipt of the request, give a written notice to some third party of the request and of the fact that the PIO intends to disclose the information or record or part thereof, and invite the third party to make a submission in writing or orally regarding whether the information should be disclosed. And such submission of the third party shall be kept in view while taking a decision about disclosure of information. If information belongs to a third party, it is not an exemption. Exemptions are only in section 8 and 9, as the law clearly states. Section 11 is a procedure to be followed to give a third party the right to object. The objection has to be on the basis of section 8 or 9 only. And such submission of the third party shall be kept in view. Therefore, the view has to be taken whether it is exempt under the Rti Act. Otherwise, information has to be given. A lot of people say it's third party information, hence we will not give it, which is illegal, which is not as per the law. True or false? If a matter is sub judice, information shall not be provided regarding it. जरा जोर से यार सो गए क्या? Information can be refused based on section 11 if it relates to a third party. Great. No commercial information shall be provided. Great. Sensitive information shall not be provided. False. Only exempt in section 8 or 9. Nobody can say it's sensitive information, hence I will not give it. The process is not complete, hence I will not give it. He has to seek exemptions only under section 8 or 9. A PR can reject a RT application by saying that the information is confidential. An applicant must give reasons for seeking information. All personal information is exempted. Fantastic. 75% of RTI you know now, which is distinction, right? Fantastic. First appeal to first appellate authority. If you are not satisfied with the response of the PIO, or the PIO just doesn't respond, if he doesn't respond, it's deemed to be a refusal without reasons. Then you file a first appeal to a first appellate authority. The first appellate authority is in the same department, senior in rank to the public information officer. How do I know the name of the public information officer or the first appellate authority? I don't need to know. RTI application addressed to the PIO of so-and-so office. There has to be a PIO who must accept it. First appellate authority, the law requires a PIO to inform you of the first appellate authority's designation and address. If he does not respond, how do I know? Simple technique is to file a first appeal to the first appellate authority, care of public information officer at the same address. First appellate authority should decide in 30, he can extend by 15 days, so 45 days. If result of first appeal not satisfactory, the second appeal to the commission to be filed within 90 days. Section 19(5) categorically states, onus on PIO that denial of information was justified. You do not, theoretically as the law goes, the spirit of the law is that you are the king. You are the queen of this nation. You don't have to say why I want information. You don't have to justify. Denial has to be justified. Somebody has to justify why he did not give you information and justify it in terms of the law. Now, appeal, Maharashtra, there is a 20 rupee fee, no fee for central government. For the RT application, the fee is 10 rupees. Briefly but pointed, if you have to file an appeal, what are the grounds for appeal? You must mention in a very brief manner. PI has not responded at all. PI has not given complete information, mentioned specific information which has not been provided. PI has rejected information without giving the reason and clause. PI has applied the section 8 without justification. PI has claimed exemption but should offer the balance information after securing the exempt information. Relief sought. This should be normal part of an appeal. Order PIO to give information free of cost as per section 7(3). In second appeal, ask for a penalty to be levied on the PIO for denying information without reasonable cause. For help, refer to this website. The arguments can be used and orders can also be cited in your appeal. You can refer to the book. This website would give you a lot of orders which you could use. Section 20 is the penalty clause. That is the teeth of the law. Without this, the law would have been useless. If information denied without reasonable cause, Commission must penalize the PIO, deemed PIO, at Rs 250 per day of delay after giving an opportunity of explaining. Maximum penalty rupees 25,000 rupees. The Commission can also recommend disciplinary action against the officer and compensation to be paid to applicant. Penalty, as I said, is the teeth of the act. Unfortunately, most commissioners impose penalty very rarely. It should be imposed reasonably frequently. When I was a commissioner, I had imposed penalties on 520 officers totaling 98 lakh rupees. And this is the provision which actually must be implemented. If this is not implemented, the act goes for a toss. Section 22 is very important. The provisions of this act shall have effect notwithstanding anything inconsistent therewith contained in the Official Secrets Act and any other law for the time being in force or in any instrument having effect by virtue of any law other than this act. In most laws, the complication becomes somebody says under this law, ye aisa hai, somebody says under this law, aisa hai. Therefore, there is a conflict of various laws. This law says it overrides all earlier laws as far as giving of information is concerned. Nobody can say, as per Companies Act, this has to happen, as per Supreme Court rules, this has to happen, as per Evidence Act, this happens. None of these apply. Only the Rti Act applies as far as giving of information is concerned. Section 22 overrides all other laws and rules. Rti application, information in 30 days. If no information provided or unsatisfactory response, first appeal to be filed within 30 days of a response or 60 days in case of no response. First appellate authority, hearing order within 45 days. If unsatisfactory order or no response, second appeal to commission within 90 days. The last one now. If the PI refused to give the information, the applicant must file an appeal with the Information Commission. True or false? False. The first appeal must be filed with the first appellate authority. The second appeal is filed with the Commission. Information which is not to be given as per the Evidence Act, Company Act or Supreme Court rules shall not be given. Great. Rti application was filed on 1 January, was rejected on 10 January. The first appeal can be filed on 25th February. False, right? A PI can reject a Rti application on the grounds if Section 11, if it is third party information. Fantastic. Believe it or not, and I am truthfully telling you, you know the law better than a lot of commissioners. Now here is, I'd like to share one or two Rti applications with you. This is a format for Maharashtra, it can be used for central government also. Application for obtaining information under the Rti Act. This is a very famous story. There was a young boy from Vidarbha who was very poor and could not make ends meet, therefore he came to Mumbai. And he was looking for contacts so that he would get a job somewhere through some chacha, bhatija, etc. Where was he staying? He was staying in a jhopda in one of the slums with his chacha. And he was going around. While he was going around, there was an RTI workshop being held. RTI workshops are held in various places, including slums, buildings, colleges, universities, and so on. So this boy sat down, understood that any plain piece of paper is a form. You don't need a form for RTI. Any plain piece of paper, it can be handwritten, it can be typewritten, it can be computer generated. What is information? He understood. Information is what is on record. 10 rupee court fee stamp he needs to stick. That's the simplest way of giving an Rti application for Maharashtra government bodies. For central government, court fee stamp won't work. You have to give a 10 rupee Indian postal order. Having understood all this, he moved on. He got a job somewhere and then he wanted to file for a ration card. So he went with the form to the rationing office, gave the application at the counter. As he was going out of the door, the pune stopped him and said, "Tumhala ration card paise ka?" This boy said, "Ho, त्यासाठी तर मी form भरलं." The pune said, "Chaha pani lagel." This boy said, "ठीक है, आपको चाय पिला दूंगा." Pune said, "चाय पिलाने की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ." तो he said, "तर काय?" He said, ₹2000 द्यायला लागेल. And this boy made a statement that always makes me feel very proud. Without batting an eyelid, he said, "I will not give a bribe. मैं घूस नहीं दूंगा." The pune shrugged. Stupid chap coming from a village, क्या अकल है उसको, इस जन्म में इसको राशन कार्ड नहीं मिलेगा, चप्पल घिस जाएंगे उसका पूरा. जाओ 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 जाओ, तुम जा, तुम्हारा असज राशन भेटणार. He did not get a ration card. he found out from the Basti, everybody was applying, paying money and getting ration cards in about 40-45 days. He waited for 3 months doing nothing, and then he filed this RT application. It was done in Marathi, I have translated it into English. Description of the information required in 150 words. I had given an application for a ration card on 5th August 2006, photocopy of receipt attached. I want the following information about its progress in the following format. He did not say, "Mala ration card ka nahi bhetla," because there was nothing on paper. Record वर असं नाही लिहिलं असेल की इसको ration card नहीं दिया क्योंकि इसने चाय पानी नहीं दिया. There will be no record. So he framed it very intelligently, and this is what I want to share with you. Names and designations of officers who dealt with it and the dates of movement of the application. Attested photocopies of all letters and notings will be provided. 2. I want a list of ration cards issued in the last 3 months, giving the dates on which the applications were made and the dates on which the ration cards were issued. This is information that has to be on record. अब इसको क्या बोलते हैं कि तुम्हारे बाद का information ration card दे दिया है, your application is not moved at all क्योंकि चाय पानी नहीं दिया. There was no record. But if they had to give that in writing, it would prove that there was corruption and no reason for not giving him the ration card. So next day the peon came to him and said, "Tula sahab ni bolonda hai." So he went to the rationing office. When the officer saw him, he said, "Arey, याच्यासाठी कुर्सी आणा." आणि यांचा ration card आणा आणि एक कप चहा आणि एक गिलास पाणी द्या. He did not give chai pani, he got chai pani instead. And that cup of tea to me is the respect given to the sovereign citizen of this nation. That is the respect that he got. And that is the respect that every citizen of India must get, demand. And we have to work to get that. This is the basic respect that all of us must get. We must get chai pani from the government. We must not give chai pani to the government. This is another one. This was my own RT application, and this I am talking to you because it talks of an appeal also. On a particular day in Mumbai, I saw on the front page of Times of India a photograph of citizens demonstrating at Marine Drive because one police constable More had raped a minor. On the same day, on page 5, I saw a small news item. The small news item said, Police Inspector Prakash Avare of Mumbai Police. Remember, we are talking of Police Constable More. Police Inspector Prakash Avare of Mumbai Police had raped a minor the earlier year. The evidence was clear. He was suspended from service. Case was lodged against him. The court acquitted him. And therefore, the police was reinstating Police Inspector Prakash Avare into service. When we read some things, we feel anger. I also felt angry. I said, what can I do? Let me use RTI. And this is what I use, and this is what I want to share with you. According to a news report in the Times of India dated 29 April 06, Inspector Prakash Avare was accused of raping a minor girl in September 2005. He was acquitted by the Sessions Court in February and has been reinstated in service. Now I could not say, why are you reinstating him? Kashala tumi tela reinstate karta. I want a photocopy of the order reinstating him along with 5 notings based on which the decision was taken. So I said, I'm only asking for information. I'm asking for a record. This was denied to me. So I filed a first appeal, which I'm sharing with you. Grounds for appeal, number 6. Facts of the case. I had asked for information regarding the reinstatement of Inspector Prakash Avare as per the attached application. The PIO first sent me a letter stating that the information would be provided by Baikala Police Station. The PIO Baikala replied by his letter of 16/5/2006 that the information could not be provided as it was exempt under section 81H, which exempts information which would impede the process of investigation or apprehension or prosecution of offenders. Grounds for appeal. PI has not shown how providing the information could impede any investigation. In fact, no investigation is being held since Prakash Avare has been reinstated. The rejection is without any basis of law. During a first appeal, they normally call you for a hearing. There was a very good Deputy Commissioner of Police who was there for the first hearing, and at that time I was not a commissioner, I was just an ordinary citizen like any other citizen. But he said, Mr. Gandhi, what could we do? The court has let him off. How are we to do anything? I said, I'm not asking you why you did or what you did. I'm only asking for a copy of the record. Citizens will know which officer took that decision to reinstate Prakash Avare and what is the reasoning given. And I said, sir, from the citizen perspective, there are 2 possibilities. One, Prakash Avre is guilty of the offence which he is alleged to have committed, in which case it's a great disservice to reinstate him in service to citizens, to the police force and to the law of the country. Alternately, Prakash Avre may be innocent. Somebody framed him. If somebody framed him, he should be held responsible. Action should be taken against him. What is this? Nobody is guilty. Nobody killed Jessica Lal jaisa kahani ho gaya ye to. This was a very good officer. He said, let me see what I can do, Mr. Gandhi. And I'm telling you this story because there are good officers in government, but we need to do something to help them also. Within 20 days of that hearing, I got it in writing from the police commissioner of Mumbai that Police Inspector Prakash Avre had been dismissed from service. That is the power of right to information that you, a single citizen, can use. You can get such a thing. There are good government officers. You need to act. If we don't act and just keep cribbing, nothing will change. According to a survey of mine, all Indian citizens crib for 3 hours every month. About what is wrong? Raste aise hai, municipality aise hai, police hafta khata hai, ye aisa hai, wo aisa hai, air pollution kharab hai, prime minister aisa bolta hai, home minister aisa karta hai, etc., etc. Does that cribbing change anything? Can it change anything? It can change nothing. So why do we crib? I've come to a conclusion, maybe it's good for our mental and physical health, it's exercise. If it is good for your mental and physical health, my submission is, keep cribbing. 1 hour out of that, even half an hour will be adequate. File one RT application about a matter that you are cribbing about. Think carefully. Own the issue, own the problem, and file an RT application. If you get information, fine. Even if you don't get it, file an appeal if you wish. If you don't want to file an appeal, don't file an appeal also. But file that one RT application once a month, every month. Take a vow. If you take a vow and say every month, once a month, I'll file one RT application. At one such lecture, an old man my age got up and said, Mr. Gandhi, काय होत नाही. मी 5 वर्ष RT applications केली. I filed so many complaints, I met so many officers, कुछ बदलता नहीं है, इंडिया में कुछ होने वाला ही नहीं है. To them I say, many of us go to mandirs, masjids, gurudwaras, churches, once a day, once a week, maybe once a month, maybe once a year. When we go there and come out, do we have an extra 100 rupee note in our wallet? No. Then why do we do it? We do it as an act of faith. We have faith that by doing this, something good will happen to me, my family, my city, my nation. What do we do for the nation as an act of faith? Zero. Let us do this as an act of faith for the nation, and here you can logically see there is a possibility. My own analysis is that about 30% of the RT applications result in some small change in the government, sometimes big. Some of the big things Vinita will probably talk to you about. But small change, not all applications. 70% of the applications may not achieve anything, but 30% do. And even if you don't get a response, the department says next time we must not do something like this, somebody is warned and some small change occurs. Simple dream I'd like to share with all of you, my friends. If 30 lakh Indian citizens take a vow to file one RT application once a month, there will be 3.6 crore RT applications in a year. 30% of that, if they make a small change in the governance of India, 1 crore times a year, small improvement will happen. In 5 years, India will be a different nation. Change will not come through leaders, change will not come through anything else, it will come through you, the masters of this nation. Until we recognize that we are the masters of this nation, RTI is a tool. There are other tools available also. RTI is a tool with which to make changes and bring changes, and we can do it. We have a tool. We need to make our democracy a really vibrant democracy. Democracy does not mean only going and voting. Voting is but one small part of democracy. People say, जाके vote करो, vote करने से क्या बदलेगा? कुछ नहीं बदलेगा. If 100% of us go and vote, nothing is going to change. But if we continuously, slowly keep working and saying, changing the nation is my responsibility, changing my society is my responsibility, changing functions of government is my responsibility, things will change. It is the ordinary citizen of this nation who has to take responsibility, become an active citizen. This is a summary for Maharashtra state. What you need to do, find out the address or department which is responsible for anything that you believe is wrong or anything that you see as needs correction. All officers are supposed to have a PIO or APIO. If the application goes to the wrong PIO, he has to forward it to the correct PIO within 5 days. Information has to exist in office in some form. Think of how to frame a request asking for information which will serve the objective you are trying to attain. If you wish to know of the policy for reserving or de-reserving of land, ask for a copy of the rules governing it. If you wish to know why a sports ground is being converted into a commercial complex, ask for the copies of the correspondence including file notings. Some media uses of RTI, I was told that there are some media students, so I thought I'd share with them. Catherine Wu won the Pulitzer Prize for a series for the Post about group homes for intellectually disabled people based on a painstaking research using the US Freedom of Information Act. In writing her award with book Beyond the Beautiful Forever about slum life in Mumbai, also she used the information obtained through RTI. The scandal over expenses that erupted in UK in 2009 led to prison terms for 5 Labour MPs and 2 Conservative peers. A slew of others had to repay money. Other scams, CWG scam, and I think Vinita will speak about some of the other uses of the... She's also used RTI phenomenally. RTI in Sri Lanka revealed that the military collects intelligence reports on journalists. मेरा भारत महान लोग लिखते हैं. Thank you. Wait, थोड़ा थापा. You are good that I am ending this, but थापा जरा 2 मिनट. मेरा भारत महान हम लोग बोलते हैं, कहते हैं, slogan. It's a nice slogan, but most of us don't really believe it. Therefore I say, मेरा भारत महान नहीं है, मेरा भारत महान नहीं है, पर ये दोष मेरा है. I, the individual sovereign citizen of this nation, am responsible. You, the individual sovereigns, are responsible. If India is not good or great, responsibility lies with us, the active citizens of this nation. Over the 5-year period, let's work. Irrespective of who the leader is. Leaders don't make nations, they can only make small changes or small differences. You and I can make, and no other citizens are going to come and do it for us. Only you and I can do it. And therefore, let's use the tool of right to information. Let's make India Mahan, and that is the hope. Small question I'd like to ask you, how many of you are Badshahs and Begums of India now? How many of you believe? Hands up. Great. Let's applaud for all of you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I would now like to introduce respected Vinita Deshmukh ma'am. Vinita Deshmukh ma'am is the consulting editor of Corporate Citizen and Moneylife, wherein she has a weekly column on stories based on right to information. She is an award-winning journalist who has had a multifaceted career in journalism for the last 26 years. She has won the prestigious Chameli Devi Jain Award for Outstanding Media Person in 2009 for her investigative series on Dow Chemicals. She has also won the Statesman Rural Reporting Award twice in 1998 and 2005 in Maharashtra. Among her other awards, she has also won one for the Excellence in Journalism 2010 from Top Management Consortium TMC. She also co-authored the book To the Last Bullet with Vinita Kamte that covered the courageous story of taking on the establishment after her police officer husband Ashok Kamte was killed in action in 26/11 Mumbai terror attack. She is also a veteran journalist, having served with the Indian Express Pune over 20 years. I would now call upon Vinita Deshmukh ma'am to share her views and thoughts with us.
So I just go from back. Now, what was the most famous thing, slang you could say that occurred in our country since the late 2019 and 2020? So it was the Tukde gang, right? So everybody was talking about this Tukde gang. Amit Shah on 26th January in his public speech said that ये टुकड़े gang वालों को जेल में भेजना चाहिए. So we all just have fun on it. But look what a journalist did, Mr. Saket Gokhale. He said, so who's this Tukde gang and who is going to be put in jail? So he sent a Rti application to the Home Ministry and asked for the names of the Tukde gang and under what law are they going to be sent to the jail. So believe it or not, the Home Ministry replied, there's nothing called Tukde gang and nobody can go to jail under this. So there ends the whole scene of Tukde gang, right? Let's go to the next one. So now, who's the father of the nation? Come on. Right. But who said that he's the father of the nation? So who's the father of the nation? Everybody takes it for granted. We are born with it. Our history books write about it. We study the same. So her name is Aishwarya Parashar. She stays in Lucknow and she is a school girl. So she wrote an Rti application to the Prime Minister's office asking the copy of the order under which Mahatma Gandhi was titled as the father of the nation. And she got a reply, there is no such order. Similarly, she asked for information on the order of January 26th, August 15th and October 2nd as national holidays. And the PMO office replied that there is no such order. It has all been created by the people who ruled us right from 1947 and we have accepted this. In fact, before I go further, Aishwarya in fact was very hassled because outside her school in Lucknow, there was a huge garbage land. And especially during the monsoons, the children used to find it very difficult to go to the school in the slush. So her auntie actually, who is an Rti activist, asked her to pose a Rti request to the municipal corporation and she found out that the land use for it is actually the public library. And today, believe it or not, instead of the garbage dump, a library, public library is born there in front of the school. So that is the power of the Rti Act. I just want to come to that level at the individual level. Like Shailesh ji said, that if each one of you spends even 1 hour a month to file a Rti application, it would go in for much more transparency and no corruption. Because instead of one person giving the Rti request in 1 month, imagine if they did it in multiples. So now I go. So now before I start with this, I'll just give you a gist of the section 4 of the Rti Act, which all of you being law students and media students can look it up under the Rti Act 2005, which is readily available if you go to Google. Now, when you file Rti application, as Shailesh ji said, that you have to wait for 30 days before you get the reply. If you don't get it, then you go for first appeal and it can take you 45 days. If not, then you can go to second appeal and it rests with the Information Commission, and as we know, there are a lot of delays and it can take you months. After that, perhaps what information you have asked for is irrelevant. If you want to ask what is the water supply data for your neighborhood and you get it after only second appeal, it's no use to you. And hence, the biggest backbone of the Rti Act is Section 4. Section 4 is the most powerful weapon for any citizen to get your information instantly. So what does it mean? That you don't even have to file any Rti application. All you have to do is visit the office in any working hours on any working day and simply demand information. Yes, it is as simple as that. Although when you go to the office, it may not turn out to be as simple, because you'll have officer who's not present on the seat, you'll have files which are not available in a particular shelf. So it may take a couple of days or some more, but sure enough that you can visit the office, it is your right. So what is it that you can get information under section 4? So there are 17 subsections. Just go through them. It comprises of all the, you just take one government department, what are its duties, who are its officers, what are their salaries, what are the concessions they have given, if it's a road department, what are the agreements, what are the tenders, if it is a food and supply, what are the concessional food grains, the ration, anything, any department, most of the information is available, has to be available for citizens. And once you go to the office, what can you do? You can ask for a Xerox copy, you can ask for a CD, you can ask for a sample of, let's say, road construction, Mr. Shailesh Gandhi had mentioned. So you can ask all these and you have the right to get it there and then. Or they may just ask, say, it is too much of Xerox, so can you come in 2-3 days? That is fine. I'll give you an example of Dow Chemicals. You know, Dow Chemicals was a company which was the sister concern of Union Carbide. In fact, Union Carbide was bought by Dow Chemicals and it came to Pune to set up a research center. As they said, in 2010, it had come to set up as a research center on Pune-Nashik road in one of the villages. So all the villagers came and met me and they said that, you know, since it is connected to the Bhopal gas tragedy where there has been gross injustice, so this should not come to Pune at all. However, I decided that I need to get the present information and therefore I did inspection of files. So when you do section 4, it is called inspection of files. That is, the citizen becomes the inspector. He becomes the inspector general and he has the right to get information from the office. So I did the section 4 first in MIDC, that is Maharashtra Industrial Development Corporation. Why? Because it allots the land to any industries that come into the state. And MIDC has an office in Pune. I also did a section 4 in Maharashtra Pollution Control Board office, because MPCB gives clearance for any polluting industries or any industries that come by. And I also did a section 4 in the Secretary Environment Office in Mantralaya. Why? Because a final decision is taken at the secretariat level. So when I went to the MIDC, first it was pretty new to them, but we were asked to carry the section 4 and go armed with the section 4 printout. But the regional officer, although he was surprised, he was very, very cooperative. He told his assistant that show her all the files concerning Dow, and as a result of which I got about 200 pages of Xerox copies. Now their Xerox photostat machine was not working, and believe me, till the Rti Act came in and people were not using section 4, most of the offices in Maharashtra, their photostat machines never worked. But today, with so many people asking for information, they are sanctioned for the the ribbon and things like that is faster today, and you can get your photostat copies from the office itself. As for me, they had to go to a private place, and after 2 days I got it. Same thing with MPCB, I got the information. Now Dow had put a full page advertisement saying that they are a research center, they are not going to use any chemicals, they are going to enhance the environment, and they are going to give jobs for 650 young engineers and scientists of Pune. However, when I just opened the first page of the MPCB file, I found that they were given permission for manufacturing unit. They had listed 65 chemicals, out of which 22 chemicals were under the Schedule 1 EPA Act, means deadly ones. They had another paper showed me that they had already cut 14,800 trees. So armed with all this information, I approached the head of the MIT's petroleum department, and an expert committee was formed to analyze that report, and it was found that what is going to come there is a pesticide-like formulation plant like the one in Bhopal. Similarly, I sent it to experts who were environment technologists, and they too gave a negative report. Based on all this, I kept writing for 10 months and educated the villagers and some of the activists on the ground as to what the actual situation is. And believe it or not, they campaigned on the ground and I threw my pen. And after 1.5 years, the Dow Chemicals returned the 100 acres of land to the Pune collector and has walked off. So that is the power of the Rti Act. Not that it's because I wrote, but it's just that the entire information became public information, and every stakeholder used it in a different way to put pressure on the government and on this multinational company, which had been rejected by 21 countries for this plant and had happily come to Maharashtra state. And thereafter it was also found under the Freedom Act in USA that they had bribed all the government officials in the Central Insecticide Board, and everyone is responsible for giving them the permission. So that was one of the triumphs, I would say, of the Rti Act. Now let's come to Vinita Kamte. Now here, as a journalist, I did what I did for the Dow Chemicals. So how many of you have, of course, all of you must be knowing how the 3 officers were killed in the Mumbai Terror Act in the Rang Bhavan lane, right? So who are those 3 officers? One was the ATS chief, Hemant Karkare, Ashok Kamte, and Mr. Salaskar, Vijay Salaskar. So when the episode happened, the next morning, the Home Ministry and the Mumbai police, and because of the report sent by the State Home Ministry to the Central Home Ministry, everybody there was giving public statements that they were foolish. They went together and they did not know how serious this issue is. So Vinita Kamte was one person. She said that because Ashok Kamte was the only IPS officer in the country who knew how to handle sophisticated weapons, especially the AK-47, with which he actually first injured Ajmal Kasab in the Rang Bhavan lane. So she asked, the Chief Minister came for condolences to her house, the big Mumbai officials came, and each time she asked him, how did my husband die? I want to know what led to his death. And they all said, त्यांना कळलं नाही की किती serious आहे, त्यांना माहितीच झालं नाही. So she sent a letter to the Commissioner of Police saying that as a wife, I have a right to know the chronological events that led to the death of my husband and his 2 colleagues. She did not get a reply for 3 months. Then she put an RTI application asking this information. So Rakesh Maria, who was then the Joint Police Commissioner and had nothing to do with neither was he a PIO nor was he the first appellate authority, he had the audacity to ring up the PIO and tell him that Vinita Kamte has no right to get this information because it will breach national security. And accordingly, the PIO wrote that to the Vinita Kamte. Vinita, despite being in so much of tragedy and grief, she filed a first appeal. When she filed a first appeal to the Assistant Police Commissioner he decided that what she's asking for is a right. So he wrote in the note after the hearing that Ashok Kamte has sacrificed his life for the country, and Vinita has the right to get it, and Mr. Rakesh Maria is not related to this denial of information, and even being a senior officer has not given any convincing reason for denying permission to her. So what was the information that Vinita Kamte asked for? She asked for all the CDs and the manuscripts. Now what are the, from the 26th November 8 p.m. till 27 November 10 a.m. So what are these manuscripts and CD records? So they are that after the 1993 Bombay blasts, the Sri Krishna Commission has made it mandatory that whenever there is any riot-like situation in the country, in any city or town, there has to be a recording between the control room and the officers and constables on ground zero. Besides the audios, they have to be transcribed and the manuscripts have to be prepared. So that's how she got this whole, all the CDs and manuscripts, and she and her twin sister, who's a High Court judge, Revati, they studied it and they found the entire chronology of how, because of the negligence in the control room, South Bombay, that all these three officers were caught unawares. So to put a long story short, it's all there in the last bullet. But how did they said they didn't know how they came there? So how did they all come there? The ATS chief was the boss. So Hemant Karkare went to the CST station, but found that these two terrorists had already gone, towards the Kama hospital. So he went there and stood at the back gate of the Kama hospital, which is the Rang Bhavan lane, and the two terrorists were shooting with their AK-47 and throwing grenades. Mr. Ashok Kamte had nothing to do with South Bombay. He was the additional commissioner, East region. He had gone back home when he got a call from Mr. Gafur, who was the Mumbai police commissioner, that you bring in your ammunition and head to South Bombay immediately because it seems to be a serious situation, and rush to Trident. So when he was approaching Trident, he again called up the South Mumbai control room, orders for me, sir. That time Rakesh Maria told him that Additional Commissioner Date is injured in the Kama hospital, so it's better that instead of going to Trident, you go there. So that's how he landed there. And the biggest joke is that he had come with his ammunition, but the constables did not allow, they were the crime branch constables who were patrolling that area, they did not allow him to bring the car inside the lane. So he had to leave all his ammunition in the car, and he was walking with two constables. How did Salaskar come there? He was called by the crime headquarters, which was 2 minutes away, and as he was passing, he saw the two senior officers standing at the back gate, and as a protocol, he had to stand there. Next, Additional Commissioner Date was injured inside, and 6 constables were injured seriously, and he had warned those constables not to get out of the Kama hospital building, but to take treatment in the ICU there or whichever doctor. But one of the constables came walking outside in complete and a bloodbath and came to the back gate. So Kamte had no choice. His car was left behind, so he put him in one of the cars which belonged to Mr. Karkare and sent him to the hospital. Thereafter, there is a call log record, 11:20 p.m. where Mr. Karkare tells the control room that please bring 150 policemen on the front gate of Kama hospital because we are already guarding the back gate of Kama hospital. This is a serious situation and get the army as fast as you can. After that, there was just no reply from the control room as to what they have done, whether they have got the policemen in front or no, there was nothing. And he had also said in that call or record that they will escape from the front gate and we would not know how to chase them. Then nothing happened, and then there were 450 calls from the nurses' quarters where these two terrorists had indeed escaped from the front gate, got into the Rang Bhavan lane, and they were loading in ammunition and checking every car to see in which car they can sit and run away. And that is why all the residents, it's a big society, were calling up 100 number. Those call log records also Vinita has, saying that please block both the entry of the lane with policemen because these guys are right here and still there was no action. At 12:10 a.m., finally Karkare gets a message saying that the two terrorists have gone to the Metro Cinema. If you know the geography of Bombay, there, Kama Hospital, Xavier's College and Metro Cinema is further ahead. So they said, if you have gone to Metro Cinema, then we need to go and find them there. And so they sat in that one car because that's all they had. And then they got ambushed in the corner. So Kamte fired the first round with his AK-47 at Ajmal Kasab and he was injured on his palm. However, they were fully loaded and they just opened fire and 3 of them were motionless. Then they threw them on the road and fired at the constables, 3 constables sitting behind, and they fled with that police, the police collars. After 3 minutes, there's a call log record wherein the police van passes by but does not help. After 40 minutes, another policeman passes by but it does not help. Although Kamte was in a uniform and could be seen, and all 3 of them lying on the road. So how did anybody know? So when the Ajmal Kasab finally came and he got out and took the Skoda, that story. So this Constable Jadhav did not die. One of the constables was alive. So when he realized that they had deserted the van, he called up his horses and said, "Aple sagre tighajana titha ahet, sahib." And that's when they were picked up. And can you believe it that Vijay Salaskar was alive for 10 minutes after he was put in the hospital. Mr. Kamte had only got a bullet on his shoulder and he bled because there was no help for so much time. And only Mr. Karkare had died an instant death. So that was the story of negligence. And when, strangely, they all went to the hospital at around 12:50 a.m. or something. And at 1:10 a.m. there's a call log record of the police commissioner calling up Rakesh Maria and asking him, "Where are my 2 officers? Mr. Kamte and Karkare." So he said, "Sir, they are doing fine." Whereas the TV had already flashed, the news had become public. So these are the kind of things. The control room was supposed to be manned. An emergency meeting was held 1 week before, where it was said that such an attack is possible. So the law and order additional commissioner was in charge of the control room, but Mr. Rakesh Maria went in and took charge. And these are a few instances. I have heard conversations wherein the constables are saying, "अरे बिर्याणी नाही की काय हे बोरिंग चालले बंद करून दे नाहीतर emergency duty ला तुम्हाला बोलवलं जाईल." These kind of conversations, these kind of laxity. So Vinita took the courage. When she told me this, I told her, "I'll write a book for you." And that's how we wrote To the Last Bullet. This lady, despite having, and the government officers were so rude, one of them told her, की तुमच्या नवऱ्याला आता आम्ही हे अशोक अवॉर्ड दिलेला आहे तर तुम्ही अजून का कंप्लेन करता. So Vinita got so angry, she said, "Today I'm couriering the Ashok award back to the government because I need to bring back the reputation of these 3 officers who were killed because of your negligence." And that's how the book was born. And believe me, that every foreigner who has written a book after that on 26/11 has mentioned a chapter on the book, on her courageous findings. However, there's another story wherein 4 additional commissioners were apparently sent by Mr. Ghaffur to help out these 3 officers and they all ran away. So all 4 of them were promoted. And she asked for the list of the 150 policemen who Ghaffur told the press that they went there. But till today there is no list because not a single policeman went there. So this is the pathetic governance. And the information came out only because of right to information. Though that now she's still helpless, that's another story. But the fact is that if there was no RTI, nothing would have come out and they would have died as fools. But Vinita made it possible to show that these people of courage were not equipped with good governance and they fell a victim to such a sad and pathetic event, and we lost the best of the 3 IPS officers of our country. Now let's come back to another individual. You see the person in the picture, his name is Bhadresh Vamja. In 2011, he was a 16-year-old boy who lived in a village about 120 kilometers from Ahmedabad. Today, he is the youngest sarpanch in the country. He never knew that he would ever get into sarpanchship. So, he used to read the Gujarat Samachar, which used to carry an article on right to information every day. And he used to hear his mother cribbing that ration to either milta hi nahi. There were 2 ration shops in his village, and nobody would get the ration. So one day the Gujarat Samachar published the data of some ration shops, how much they received the grains and how much they distributed it. So he decided that why not that I use it for my ration shop. So with the help of an NGO in Gujarat, he filed a RTI application. When he filed the RTI application, that asking that how much grain, sugar, oil was received by these 2 ration shops in my village from October, he gave a period like for 6-7 months, how much did they receive, who were the recipients, etc. When he filed that RTI application, he was threatened. His uncles and all came that, "Arey tu BCom kar raha hai ki ye kya kar raha hai? You just stop all this." So he decided he will not stop. So the NGO lady, she told him, just do a section 4. Go to the office and get information. So he went to the food and supply office, the Tehsildar office, which is a relevant one, and he gave him an entire data of how more than 120 kgs wheat had come, how for Diwali they had got another 50 kgs, and then they found that nobody had received it. So then he filed a complaint to the food supply commissioner, and then both of the shops were raided, a random check was done, and today, I guess today, after that, immediately not only the people started getting ration, but going by what this boy did, the Gujarat Information Commissioner, the State Information Commissioner, suo motu, issued an order to the Food Supply Department that every ration shop has to write it on a blackboard as to how much they have received it every week. And thus, many people who are not getting the ration, they got, and today he's become the Sarpanch, and he gives a lot of lectures on RTI all throughout the country. Now the other one I talked about is exams. In this case, you know that the Supreme Court has given a judgment, very big order in August 2011, that a student has a right to get his or answer sheet for not only all public examinations, but even for private institutions. Because am I right? A private institution, like they come the CBSE board, which come under a particular board that is a public authority, you can ask you have the right for the getting the copy of your answer sheet. So it all started with a boy in Calcutta who was brilliant, and he was in the science branch of the Presidency College, and he wanted to apply for his IIT. However, he fell short because he got very low marks in one of the subjects, I think maths, where he just got 28 marks, and he could not believe because he was a brilliant boy. And then how he used the RTI, and how the college denied it, and how he went to the High Court, and then the High Court upheld his case. Then how the entire CBSE and the universities in West Bengal together went to the Supreme Court. By then he had lost interest, so one of the NGOs took it up in Delhi, and on August 2011 a historic judgment was given that you have the right for the copy of your answer sheet, and today you get that. So these are like small people who have made big changes to our country, where thousands and thousands of students are affected. I'll come to Mr. Sharad Phadke. Unfortunately, he's no more. But he is like any unassuming retired person. He is a Puneite, or was a Puneite, who had never used RTI. He had only read about it in the newspapers. But in one day, he went to the Bank of India ATM to get 1,000 rupees. And first time it did not work, second time it worked, and you all must be used to the fact that he got 1,000 rupees, but 2,000 rupees were debited from his bank. He kept meeting the branch manager, who treated him like a cockroach and sent him back each time he was there. So frustrated, he just started looking at the Reserve Bank of India website. And there he found that there was a circular just a few months earlier that if the bank does not credit back the wrongly debited account in 12 days, then the bank has to pay 100 rupees penalty to the customer. So he took the printout of that and he filed a RTI, asking the PIO of that Bank of India that what is the status of his case, who is the officer responsible with it, what is the time limit for crediting the amount, and what action has been taken against the officer who has not done his duty, and a circular or order of the process where the money is credited back. So armed with this, he went. By then 45 days had already passed by, and he gave the RTI application to Bank of India, and can you believe it that within 48 hours he had 5,500 rupees into his bank account. 45 days for his delay, and the 1,000 rupees which was he was credited for. So he got all that money just because he had filed RTI, and that too in 48 hours. And so he kept on filing RTIs in different banks, and so to the extent of which that the Reserve Bank of India has taken notice, and now they have to credit it within 6 days, and 3 banks have put a software in which if it is wrongly debited, it gets credited within 3 minutes. Now none of us know about this, none of us know about Mr. Sharad Phadke, but the Rti Act has helped so take your own issues. Don't try to break national scandals, or don't even try to break some corruption of political leaders or the PMC. It doesn't matter. Are you saddled with a problem? Use the RTI. You all are still young, but if your gas cylinder doesn't come in time, do you know that under the Essentials Commodities Act, you have to get it in within 48 hours? You are not supposed to visit the agency, and the person who delivers the gas cylinder has to come with a mobile weight system so that you know that you are getting the right amount of gas. So all these changes have been made because many citizens in Pune have used this for the gas cylinder, and today there's just no problem. So it is not so much because the government has changed, but because the people were harassing the agencies, and today it is all online. You can see before you select your agency, see on the website of that petroleum company as to what are the deliveries they have made, and you will come to know whether they have bypassed yours and given it into the next date. All this is available. So under Section 4, the government, one of the portions of the Section 4 is that the government itself, as we call it, the public authorities, that is the government departments, even without anybody asking or applying under RTI application, they have to put that information on their website. If they do so, then 90% of RTI applications are not required. With the click of the mouse, that it is so strong, our RTI Act. Our RTI Act was the second powerful in the world, the first being Siberia. After a few years, it has dipped to the 6th position. That's because the PIOs are not giving proper answers. So, they have various categories in which they measure the strength of the RTI Act. So, the power, ours is a very powerful RTI Act, which is also second in the world, but because of this lax governance, it has slid down in that category. And hence, you must use it. It is very simple. Now, more than, I think, 2,000 central government departments are online. You can apply Rti online. You don't even have to take the pains of posting it. You pay it online, ₹10. Maharashtra government was the first one to have Rti online, and now it is followed by another state. I just forget the name, I'll tell you. So 2 states in India today have the facility of Rti online, and you immediately get a receipt and you get information also. I have done that 3-4 times. So now let's come to the President Pratibha Patil. Everybody knows that she was the first woman president of India, right? So when she was the woman president of India, she was thinking of her retirement, where to stay. So she decided that since she is the president of India and the supreme commander of the all defense forces, she decided to build a house in Pune because her daughter stays there and she's got a school there. So she picked the A1 military land in Khadki, which was 260,000 square feet. Now, seeing this, the soldiers, they're still saying Ghorpadi in the slums. The soldiers are fighting for a country. I mean, that land, if at all has to be used, could have been used for the people who are still serving in the forces and fighting for us. But no, the grand lady thought that I should live in luxury, for which she used to take Pune builders all around the world for her interior designs and architecture and whatnot. So Colonel Suresh Patil, he decided to file a RTI application. So he filed a RTI application with the Home Ministry, and he only asked what are the rules and regulations for a retired President of India getting a retirement home. And the answer that he got was that he or she, after retirement, is eligible to a 4,800 square feet of an existing bungalow or flat in whichever part of India that the President would like to stay. Now, where is 4,800 square feet and where is 260,000 square feet? He held 4 press conferences in 4 cities: Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, and Calcutta, or I don't know which place. None of the papers were ready to write about her because she's the President of India. So he called me up, and when he told me this on the phone, I said, of course, just come over to my office and show me the documents. And when he showed me, I have my RTI column every Wednesday in Moneylife. Moneylife is an extremely powerful and a popular e-finance daily, and where it writes stories on governance. And in a day, they have 75,000 readership, and that is in multiples. So when I wrote the column, it was of course published. I mean, our editor Sucheta Dalal, she got a Padma Shri for the Harshad Mehta scam when she was in the Times of India, and her husband, Mr. Debashish Basu, who run it, like we are into like so courageous journalism. They believe in that, and then this was published. Next morning, I was so surprised. My entire inbox was filled with mails from New Zealand, UAE, USA, Australia, congratulating me for the article and saying that, do you need any funding to continue this campaign? So I was like so surprised. That time I was not using Twitter, but my young journalist friend told me, "Arey, your story is trending," and things like that. I started getting calls from all the news channels and everything. Where is this location? Where do we go? Blah, blah. So then I just decided that, oh my God, this is like really a deadly story, and procured more RTI documents from the Southern Command, different state office, and some of whom I knew from the President's Secretariat. And for 14 days, I continuously wrote on some aspect or the other through the RTI documents that I got. And I just got I stunned when I came to know on the 15th day that the President's Secretariat had issued a press release that Pratibha Patil had given back the land to the military. And that was like everybody was stunned, nobody could believe it. But what did it? That the information went public. That the right to information brought out authentic information on what she is legally can get as an ex-president and what she has tried to usurp the land. So that was a great victory, and I was on the television from 5:45 p.m. till midnight that day in different television channels. And then I wrote a book on this, The Mighty Fall, and the Marathi is, I would like to gift it to this college, and the Marathi version is Satta Zukli, which got the Acharya Atre Award. So then, after about last year, I was just passing that way, and I suddenly saw something happening there. So I went and checked it out, and I was most pleased to know that it has been turned into an army mess. So the right use has been made to that land which would have otherwise gone illegally. And our society is so morally corrupt, not everybody, but there are many, that till today I keep getting comments saying that हा मग ते राष्ट्रपती होते ना, मग एवढं घेतलं म्हणून काय झालं, ते तर भारताच्या राष्ट्रपती होता. So this thing, a servile attitude, like Shailesh said that we are the power, that is my land, you have to use it for what it is meant for, otherwise I'm going to raise my voice. So this was one of the very big things that happened because of RTI. I can go on giving you many examples, but the long and short is that whatever problem you have, you're not getting a birth certificate, you're having problems with death certificate. Do you know that getting birth certificate, death certificate, domicile certificate is like a nightmare? The government talks about CA, NPR, documents hai to mil jayega. But according to the law, if you are a domicile of Maharashtra for 14 years, you do not need the domicile certificate. Every college harasses you. I don't know this college, but many colleges. They insist that you have to get it. What do? There are students from all around Maharashtra, they have to go. I know that my driver said last year, he went to his gaon searching for his birth certificate for his son. And finally he had to pay 25,000 rupees, just what Shailesh ji said. So this kind of harassment is happening because there is no information being put in the public domain. Now how we are used to jugaad, right? So now what are they doing? RTO, how many people of you, most of you must have paid the agents, right, to get your driving license. Now a few years back, the RTO website for e-license was the best in India. It became so good that the agents were unemployed. The officers stopped getting hafta. So what do? They tell you to put it in the online, and then it crumbles. It just crashes. Your thing doesn't go, you get frustrated, and then you just go to the agents for waiting down. Right? So they have started doing that. What have they started doing in the land records, Satbara extracts? Everything is online, beautifully. But when they were putting it online, they have gone and changed the names. Now one noted industrialist, just recently I was with him for the Savai Gandhar, he told me for 20 years that piece of land on Pune-Mumbai Expressway was on his name. And suddenly 3 years back he finds it is on somebody else's name. Because when they made it online, they just fudged it up. So he went to him and told him that, look, how can it go to anybody else when it was there for 20 years? So he said, nahi, pata nahi. So he said, theek hai, hum kar denge. Now he is demanding 10 lakh rupees. So he's saying, jao upar. Okay, so these are also the another side of putting things on the public domain, But by and large, when we talk about information, whether it has to do with our roads, our garbage, our, the answer sheets, and the works, you name any, your garden department, your trees, everything has to be put on the public domain. And remember that people, the government officers are very scared of RTI. You have to just tell them that I'll put an RTI application and your things are done. I'll give you an example and then I will leave it there. My son-in-law, he's a tennis champion. He won the Dhyanchand Award last year, Nitin Kirtane. So when he won the national, about 3-4 years back, he had won some very big tournament, I forgot which. So 5 sportsmen of India were given 5 lakh rupees by the government of India as a prize. And 1 year passed and he suddenly remembered that he had been promised, and then it was not in his account. So what to do? He started calling up the sports ministry and writing to them. Nothing happened. I told him nothing, you just write a RTI application. What is the status of the so-and-so prize that has been awarded to these 5 sportsmen, and write your name also. And send it by email at the moment. So he did that and he sent it by email. And within a week, the guy called up and said that don't worry, we'll do it. And in a week's time, all those 5 sportsmen got their money. And the last one I would like to say and leave it is the Passport Office of Pune. This Piyush Rai, my story is there on the internet. He works in the IT and he was not getting his passport for 6 months. He lost 2 opportunities to be posted abroad. So finally he contacted me because I was campaigning for this passport office in Pune. And then I told him, you just write an RTI application and give it there, and if you have any problem at the Senapati Bapat Road office, you give me a call. Sure enough, he went with the RTI application and he said, nahi, ghet nahi, RTI applications itha ghet nahi. So he gave me the phone. So I told her, give it down in writing to him that we do not accept RTI applications here, though you are the PIO. So she got very scared and she took it. But she kept with her and then she told him, idhar jara baithna dekh ke aati hu. So he was made to sit for 3 hours and they actually found his passport, which was all ready but was not couriered, and he got the passport. That is why I am saying that any of your personal problems, just use the RTI. It is the biggest weapon and is the biggest threatening thing to all the government officers sitting there who are really scared of it, because they have to pay penalty if they don't give you information. And Maharashtra has progressed to the state that, to the extent that in Pune, PMC Monday to Friday inspection of files is free for any citizen in any department. In PCMC it is free on Fridays, and in the collector's office also it is free on Fridays 3 PM to 5 PM. So whatever careers you all choose, whatever profession you all do, remember that RTI is the tool for the media people. It is not only the pen, but it is the RTI Act. For those in the law, there are many uses and advantages for all of you, and for your personal use, just equip yourself and get empowered. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. I would now request respected Shailesh Gandhi sir and Vinita Deshmukh ma'am to come on the dais to demonstrate the RTI appeal.
Okay friends, we are now going to do a small practical session. I believe you got RTI formats with you. Have you got them? Yes. Give me one format. We are going to see if we can if I have been able to explain properly, so we'll know. What we are going to request you to do is to file an RTI, to draft an RTI. Okay, now you got this format. To the Public Information Officer, name of office with address. So you think of which department you want some information from, and put, even if you don't have the address, just write so and so department. Full name of applicant, your name, address, your address, particulars of the information required, subject matter of information in brief in 2-3 words. What is the subject matter regarding which you want to file the information? So description of the information required. In less than 150 words, put down, remember one thing, what is information, what is on record. That is information, the rest is not information. Whether the information is required by post or in person, you can get the information by post, you have to pay the postal charges, or in person you can write whatever you like. In case by post, ordinary registered or speed post, write speed post. When the applicant is below poverty line, this is asked because for those below poverty line there is no fee to be paid. Place Pune, date today's, signature of applicant. You don't have to sign this. After I'll give you about 10 minutes. Think of a subject in which you want information. From which department will this be accessed? And fill up this description of information. And after you've finished, I'll ask 5 or 10 people to read out what they've sought, just so that all of us understand whether we have understood the issue properly or I have not been able to explain, or maybe some gaps in the way I have informed you. Should we do it, friends? Badshah or Begum? Puchna padega, Huzur. So we'll give you 10 minutes. At the end of 10 minutes, I'll ask a few of you to read out. All of us cannot do the reading, but we'll pick on 5 or 10 people from different places and see whether we've understood clearly or maybe there is some gap which I can fill in. Okay friends, your time starts now. Okay friends, anybody who's done the application, just raise your hands please. Anybody has made the application, please raise your hand. Just read out. PIO, which department?
Silence means silence.
Actually, in the last week of the January, I filed an RTO to the CBSC board.
Okay.
It's not to the Maharashtra, it's out of from that side.
Fine.
And in 2015, they have given the circular regarding the guidelines of the POCSO Act of 2012, which was released. And in that, it was given that all the schools should have this. Every child should be given the information of the sexual abuse, whatever is there, and all the information on that. And I've asked for that.
So in your information seeking, what have you written?
I have asked that in March 2015, CBSE has issued guidelines to all the CBSE affiliated schools to ensure strict compliance of the protection of children and sexual abuse POCSO Act 2012 for creating awareness about sexual exploitation, gender equality, ear-teasing and sexual abuse in a school environment, and for increasing awareness and synergy among the parents, teachers, non-teaching staffs and schools. Copy of the circular of 2015 is attached with the application.
Now, what is the information you want?
I want the information that whether there are the guidelines given to in the circular stated above of 2015 is being followed by the CBSE affiliated schools or not.
No,
Secondly,
okay. Now let me explain this.
Yeah.
First, do not necessarily give the whole description of the CBSE circular, not required, or the purpose for that. In short, say you want to see whether it's implemented.
Yeah.
So just say, with respect to so and so circular, I want records of evidencing their implementation. That's all.
Records for the evidence.
If there are any record showing implementation, I want copies of them.
Okay.
That is all. See, you're only seeking information. Do you follow?
Yeah.
And this is central government CBSE. So therefore, the 10 rupee court fee stamp would not work. A 10 rupee Indian postal order must be
This
attached.
only happened, and I attached the 10 rupees court fees, and that application came to me, back to me, saying that it's a postal order required.
That's right.
Yeah.
Anyway, all the best.
Thank you.
Good. Anyone else? Anyone else? Please.
I have written an application to the MACB department. We have actually officially filed for a new MACB meter 3 months back. This is a real case. I am on the verge of filing an FIR next month regarding the concerned officers. Since last 3 months, the MACB officers and the MACB personnel have given oral various excuses that we don't have the material to put in the line. I am running an NGO for blind handicapped animals at Kataraj. So I have waited for 3 months for officially to see what they do. Now, tomorrow the 3 months is going to get over. I have made an RTI application seeking information regarding the official application which I have made to the MACB department.
What? Just read from that.
The documents, the progress of the application, and I have seek information of how many other new meters have been given to other people in that time period where I have filed an application for the same.
My submission is,
Yes, sir.
you are explaining to me.
Yes, sir.
What would you write exactly?
I have written in, I need the copies of the applications as well as the list and the numbers of the new MACB meters in that time period of 3 months.
Wonderful. You are exactly copying the ration card story which has been a very successful story all across the country.
Thank you, sir.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
सर रेशन कार्डचीच एक क्वेरी होती.
हो.
त्यामध्ये आता ज्यांना नवीन नाव ॲड करायचं असेल ना तर ते जेवढे आधार कार्ड आहे ते सगळे मागतात आणि परत गेलं ना ऑफिसमध्ये तर ते म्हणतात की परत लग्नाची पत्रिका आणा. मग म्हटलं एकदाच का नाही सांगायचं तुम्ही तुम्हाला हे
नाही, तुम्ही RTI मध्ये काय विचारणार?
मग ते बाहेर आल्यावरती एक एजंट म्हटला की तू काहीच देऊ नको तुझं नाव टाकून देतो.
नाही, मी तुम्हाला
मला माहिती काय हवी आहे की RTI अंडर की किती फॉर्म तुम्ही विदाउट डॉक्युमेंट घेतले. फॉर्मला डॉक्युमेंट जमा करतात ना त्यांच्याकडे म्हणजे आपल्या
असं नाही. तुम्ही एक शब्द मला सांगा
की आता मी
समजा तुम्ही काय लिहिणार तिथे
की विदाउट डॉक्युमेंट मला कसं काय मिळालं हे रेशन कार्ड.
नाही, तसं काही रेकॉर्ड नसेल तिथे. प्लीज तुम्ही एक विचार करा तिथे काय रेकॉर्ड असेल. तुम्हाला दिलं तर काय दिलं कसं दिलं असं काय नसेल. म्हणजे डॉक्युमेंट आहे आम्ही देऊन टाकले. तुम्ही असं म्हणता की विना डॉक्युमेंट दिले. ते का दिले तो विचारायचं RTI मध्ये नाही शक्यता.
आता कसं करता येईल का डॉक्युमेंटसाठी वारंवार खेटे मारायला लागतात हे
नाही. ही से की इन सम केसेस ते पैसे घेऊन असंच देतात.
त्यांनी RTIच्या खाली विचारा की प्लीज गिव्ह द लिस्ट ऑफ डॉक्युमेंट्स रिक्वायर्ड फॉर रेशन कार्ड. मग तुम्हाला जेव्हा ते मिळेल ना आणि जर त्यांनी विचारलं तर तुम्ही ते दाखवा की मला हा रिप्लाय आलाय.
ते करू शकतात पण या प्रकारे शक्य नाही. नेक्स्ट. येस
Sir, if you permit, I just want to add one mistake which everybody does, if with your permission, please.
please.
In an RTI application, we are allowed to only seek copies of the papers or copies of whatever data is there with the department. आपण हे नाही विचारायचं प्रश्नार्थक स्वरूपाचं उत्तर की हे का नाही मिळालं किंवा हे कुठे नाही. तर मग ते रिप्लाय देतात की सदर विषय हा प्रश्नार्थक स्वरूपाचा असून मग ते उत्तर द्यायला टाळतात. आपण फक्त त्यांच्याकडे जे कागदपत्र आहेत त्याचीच मागणी करू शकतो. प्रश्न नाही विचारू शकतो. राईट सर.
शासनाची सुशील बेकार योजनेअंतर्गत मुद्रा लोन प्रक्रिया आहे. तर बँक ऑफ इंडिया या ठिकाणी हडपसर शाखेमध्ये माझे एक मित्र आहेत चौधरी म्हणून. तर त्यांना ते मुद्रा लोन काढायचं होतं तर मला म्हटले माझ्याबरोबर तुम्ही चला. तिथल्या बँक मॅनेजरला मी भेटलो आणि त्यांना वस्तुस्थिती संपूर्ण सांगितली. आम्हाला असं मुद्रा लोन काढायचं आहे तर काय करावं लागेल. तर त्यांनी भरपूर यादी कागदपत्रांची वाचली. पॅन कार्ड पाहिजे हे पाहिजे ते भरपूर काय वाचले. आणि शेवटी आम्हाला ते म्हणाले की तुमचा काही प्रमाणात त्या ठिकाणी सहभाग सुद्धा पाहिजे आर्थिकचा पैशा पाण्याचा. तर मी म्हटलं की कागदपत्र मी तुम्हाला देऊ शकेल. म्हटलं एखाद दुसरा जर कागद मिळाला नाही तर अशा वेळेस तुम्ही आम्हाला थोडं सहकार्य करा. पण आता तुम्ही जे म्हणताय की या ठिकाणी तुम्हाला पैसे बँकेत भरावे लागतील थोडी तरी. आमच्याकडे जर पैसे असते तर म्हणलं आम्ही तुमच्याकडे आलोच नसतो म्हटलं मुद्रा लोनसाठी. आणि काही अर्थानं म्हणलं युवकाला गरज आहे पैशाच्या ना याच्यामध्ये काहीतरी करून दाखवे आणि तुम्हाला ते भरावंच लागेल हेच कळलं तेच करावं लागेल. मग मी डायरेक्ट कॅम्पामध्ये त्यांची जी शाखा आहे मेन शाखा त्या शाखेतल्या मुख्य अधिकारी मी भेटलो. म्हणलं सर मी खाली ब्रँच मॅनेजरला भेटलो पण ते असं म्हणताय आपलं काय याच्यावर उत्तर आहे. मग ते म्हणले तुम्हाला तसंच करावं लागेल. म्हणलं सर नाही म्हणलं मला माहितीच्या अधिकाऱ्याकडे जाऊन मला विचारावं लागेल. नाही म्हणले असं काय तुम्ही करू नका म्हणले. तुम्ही फक्त खातं ओपन करा आणि खातं खोलण्याकरता तुम्ही 0 रुपयाने सुद्धा खातं खोलू शकता. म्हणलं कसं मला एवढंच पाहिजे होतं. त्या माणसाचं मी काम करून दिलं. मला आज सांगायला आनंद वाटतो. आज तो माणूस केशवनगरमध्ये स्वतःची कपडे टाकून आहे तिथे त्यांनी जॉब सेंटर खोललेलं आहे आणि ते दुकान चाललंय. नंतर त्यांच्या मुलांना तिथं लावले धंदा पाण्याला व्यवस्थित चालले. त्याचा प्रपंच सेट झालेला आहे असं मला वाटतं. म्हणजे आधी जो फायदा आहे तो खरंच पॉवरफुल आहे फार चांगला आहे. आणि मी अभिनंदन करतो मॅडमचं. मला आनंद तुमचं अभिनंदन करतो. तुमची बोलण्याची पद्धत सांगण्याची पद्धत आणि तुमच्या शब्दामध्ये धमक होती तर आम्ही सगळेजण भारावून गेलो आणि असं वाटतं की भविष्याकाळात आम्ही सुद्धा असंच काहीतरी करावं. धन्यवाद.
व्हेरी गुड व्हेरी गुड. एनिवन बॅक बेंचर्स मध्ये कोणी नाही का?
हॅलो सर. जसं त्या सरांनी सांगितलं की मुद्रा लोनचा जो विषय त्यांनी काढला होता सेम माझी तीच क्वेरी आहे. मी ज्या भागात राहते तिथे एक ग्रुप आहे एक 10 लोकांचा मिळून सो त्यांनी आम्हाला सांगितलं की मुद्रा लोन आहे ते तुम्हाला मिळेल, बिझनेस तुम्ही करू शकता, एक चांगली अमाऊंट तुम्हाला मिळेल जिथे कुठे तुम्ही इन्व्हेस्ट करू शकता. सो मग माझ्या एरियामधले एक 4-5 लोकांनी, इवन माझ्या आई वडिलांनी सुद्धा त्याच्यामध्ये इन्व्हेस्ट करण्याचा प्रयत्न केला. बट जसं तर सर म्हणाले की तिथे इन्व्हेस्ट करण्याची गरज नाहीये. बट जो तो ग्रुप होता, ते जे काही बँकेचं नाव सांगतायत, ज्या अधिकाऱ्यांचं नाव सांगतायत, ते असं म्हणतात की त्यांनी प्रत्येक एरियातले जे जे व्यक्ती आहेत ज्यांना मेंबर्स म्हणून घेतले, त्यांच्याकडून त्यांनी 10,000 रुपये इन्व्हेस्ट करून घेतलेले आहेत एव्हरी पर्सन कडून. सो दिस इज नॉट गुड. आय थिंक आता जसं सरांनी सांगितलं, म्हणजे तुम्ही मला सजेस्ट करू शकता का की असं नाही घेतलं पाहिजे ना?
नाही, काय झालं,
मुद्रा लोनच्या नावाखाली बँकेच्या लोकांनी त्या एरियातल्या मेंबर्स कडून 10,000 रुपये इन्व्हेस्ट करून घेतलेले आहेत.
म्हणजे 10,000 रुपये घेतले
हो,
मुद्रा लोन मध्ये,
मुद्रा लोनच्या नावाखाली.
पण ते पैसे त्यांना नाही दिले.
नाही, अजून त्या लोकांच्या नावावरती लोन जमा झालेलंच नाहीये. जे 10 लाखाचं लोन म्हणाले की आम्ही देणार, त्याच्यासाठी तुम्हाला आधी 10,000 इन्व्हेस्ट करावे लागणार आहे.
इन्व्हेस्ट मीन्स देअर इन द बँक.
ते जे एजंट आहेत ना, त्या एजंटनी घेतलं.
द बेसिक क्वेश्चन की ज्यांनी तुम्हाला 10,000 मागितले, तुम्ही हे व्हेरीफाय केलं का की ते खरोखर बँकेचे अधिकारी आहेत, कर्मचारी आहेत? उद्या मी आली आणि मी येऊन 10,000 मागते, प्रूफ काय पाहिलं का?
बँकेचे मॅनेजर आहे.
त्यांनी लिहून दिला का? बेटा एक विचार करा, सरकार लिहिण्यावर चालते, पेपरवर चालते, म्हणजे ऍक्च्युअल डॉक्युमेंटेशनवर. आता जर व्हर्बली कोणी सांगितलं असेल तर त्याचा काही अर्थ होणार नाही.
कारण त्यांनी लिहून तरी वगैरे असं काही.
तेच म्हणतो, तोंडी प्राईम मिनिस्टरनी सांगितलं त्याचाही काही रेकॉर्ड नाही. दॅट इज ऑफ नो कॉन्सिक्वेन्स. इट मस्ट बी इन रायटिंग. व्हॉट इज व्हर्बल त्याचं काहीच शक्य नाही. म्हणजे तुम्ही जाऊन सांगू शकता आम्हाला चिटिंग केलं वगैरे, पण तो म्हणजे इट बिकम्स अ मॅटर ऑफ इन्व्हेस्टिगेशन. आयडियली RTI मध्ये जे करतात ते ब्लॅक अँड व्हाईट मध्ये पाहिजे. तर यात फार कठीण आहे की काही शक्य असेल. अच्छा, वन लास्ट वन.
या लास्ट वन सर.
माझा क्वेश्चन असा आहे सर, मला ॲक्च्युली माहिती पाहिजे होती. तर आपण मिनिमम मॅक्सिमम किती मागे जाऊ शकतो? आता मला एक इन्फॉर्मेशन अशी पाहिजे होती की 1962 पासून, म्हणजे आपलं गव्हर्नमेंट ऑफ महाराष्ट्र जेव्हा इस्टॅब्लिश झालं त्याच्यापासून जे काही निर्णय घेण्यात आले, तर ते काही निर्णय असे असतात की जे GR मध्ये नसतात. ठीक आहे, पण जे काही त्या विभागाचे मंत्री असतील ना, तर त्यांनी आत्तापर्यंत किती बेनिफिशियरी लोकांना त्यांचा बेनिफिट दिला की त्यांच्या इंटरनलच लोकांना काही बेनिफिट असतो. फॉर एक्झाम्पल मी पणनच्या संदर्भात,
तुम्ही काय माहिती काय?
मला माहिती फक्त आपण ती RTI मध्ये माहिती मागू शकतो का, किंवा त्याच्या मागे किती जाऊ शकतो?
किती जुनी माहिती घेऊ शकतो?
रेकॉर्ड असेल त्याचा छोटा जवाब हे आहे, रेकॉर्ड असेल तर 1000 वर्षाची माहिती दिली पाहिजे.
अच्छा, द्यायला ते बंधनकारक आहे. आणि जर समजा ती दिली गेली नाही,
रेकॉर्ड असलं तर आणि 20 वर्षाचा एक प्रोव्हिजन आहे. 20 वर्षानंतर 10 एक्झम्पशन्स आहे सेक्शन 8(1) मध्ये. 7 एक्झम्पशन्स निघून जातात. ओनली 3 एक्झम्पशन्स रिमेन आफ्टर 20 years. जसं ते आपला अमिताभ बच्चनचा असते ना, 2 निघून गेले, 50-50. इथे 70-30 आहे. ओनली 3 एक्झम्पशन्स विल रिमेन आफ्टर 20 years. बस जास्त माहिती भेटली पाहिजे, पण रेकॉर्ड असलं पाहिजे.
पण ते रेकॉर्ड आहे की नाही हे आपलं कसं आयडेंटिफाईड कसं करणार सर?
तुम्ही मागा, ते सांगणार की रेकॉर्ड आहे किंवा नाही. तुम्ही मागितलं तर ते तुम्हाला रिटर्न मध्ये देणार की हे रेकॉर्ड नाही का. गव्हर्नमेंटचे एक रेकॉर्ड मेंटेनन्स शेड्यूल असते. काही रेकॉर्ड्स परमनंट ठेवायचे असते, काही रेकॉर्ड्स 5 वर्ष, काही रेकॉर्ड्स 2 वर्ष, काही रेकॉर्ड्स 15 वर्ष. म्हणजे ते रेकॉर्ड मेंटेनन्स शेड्यूलचा हिशोबाने चालतात. यू कॅन आस्क.
मी एक परत क्वेश्चन विचारतो सर, एक क्वेश्चन आहे त्याला.
हा बोला.
म्हणजे याच्याशी रिलेटेड आहे की गेली पणन महामंडळाचं जे आहे ना, त्याच्या संदर्भामध्ये समजा फॉर एक्झाम्पल एक PMCचं जे मार्केट आहे मुंबईचं, तर ते मार्केट कमिटीमध्ये ना काही ठराविक लोकांनाच गाळे किंवा ते अलॉट केलेलं आहे. बट त्याचे रेकॉर्ड्स काही नाही आहेत. आम्ही RTI मध्ये ती माहिती मागवली होती, ठीक आहे, पण त्याच्यामध्ये आम्हाला पूर्ण माहिती दिली गेली नाही आहे. त्यांनी काय सांगितलं की 1972 जे इस्टॅब्लिश झालं नाही PMC मार्केट, देन त्याच्यामध्ये त्याच्या अगोदर पण काही गाळे अलॉट केले होते, जे गाळे त्याचं रेकॉर्ड त्यांच्याकडे नाही आहे. तर मग आम्ही त्यांना माहिती अशी विचारली, म्हणजे आम्ही ग्रुप आहे आमचा, तर आम्ही त्यांना असं विचारलं होतं की बाबा त्याची माहिती कोणाकडे मिळेल. तर त्यांनी आम्हाला म्हणजे सांगितलं की हे रेकॉर्ड्स आमच्याकडे नाही. तर मला हे विचारायचं होतं की आपण ते पुढे अपील कोणाकडे करू शकतो, की आपले जे कमिशनर वगैरे
त्यांना विचारत कुठल्या हिशोबाने त्यांना तुम्ही गाळे दिले, काही त्यांनी दिले आणि दुसऱ्या कोणी दिले ज्याच्याकडे रेकॉर्ड आहे त्यांनी ट्रान्सफर केलं पाहिजे. तुम्हाला विचारायची गरज नव्हे. त्यांनी नाही सांगितलं तर एप्रिलमध्ये जा की त्यांची रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी आहे पाठवायला, आणि किंवा काहीच रेकॉर्ड नाही तर ते इलिगल असेल. पण त्यात RTI दुसरं काय करणार, तुम्हाला डॉक्युमेंट भेटणार की असं बिना रेकॉर्डचं यांना दिलंय, तर तुम्ही कंप्लेंट करू शकता.
कंप्लेंट याच्यानंतरची कुठं माहिती आयुक्तांकडे करावी लागेल की त्याच्यात
पहिली अपील करायची, नंतर सेकंड अपील करायची.
थँक्यू सर. थँक्यू.
Hello sir, current question, I have one query. Supposedly I want the information regarding to some organizing change which is a monitoring body of any society or any trust. From the last...
एक minute. Society, if you talk of normal regular cooperative society.
No, it's supposed to be charity society, education society or charity society.
Trust, charity trust.
Yeah. So how they had the changes in the governing body? How long I can get it?
I have understood. A normal charity trust or cooperative society is not covered under RTI. पहले एक item here. But information that they provide to regulatory bodies like charity commissioner or registrar of cooperative societies can be accessed by you. So whenever there is a change in management, etc., they have to give some form to the charity commissioner. You can seek the information from there.
Change request. Change report or change request.
Change report. Whatever you want regarding.
My question is how back I can go for that information.
Whatever, as much record as they have to keep. First, the principle is whatever is available has to be given. What is not available has to be justified as to why it is not available.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Achha, any questions? Any other questions? Any questions anybody has? कोणाचे काय प्रश्न आहे का?
हॅलो, हां सर, प्रथम अपील अधिकारी होते तहसीलदार, तर त्यांनी मला आता निकाल दिला आहे. मी 21/11ला दाखल केलं होतं अपील, तर 21/11 त्यांनी 45 दिवसामध्ये निकाल देणं गरजेचं होतं. हो, पण त्यांनी 45 दिवसानंतर म्हणजे मला 75 दिवसांनी निकाल दिला होता. त्यावर आता मला अपील करायचं, ते कुठे करावं लागेल?
सेकंड अपील कमिशनला.
बरं, मला त्या मागणी केलेली माहिती अजून मिळालेली नाही.
हा, दोन्ही वस्तू तुम्ही सेकंड अपील करा आणि त्यात लिहा. सेकंड अपील एकच करा की पहिले PIOनी हे दिलं नाही, फर्स्ट अपेलेट अथॉरिटीने हे दिलं नाही, त्यामुळे सेकंड अपील करायचे.
थँक्यू.
I would now thank respected Shailesh Gandhi sir and Vinita Deshmukh ma'am for enlightening and empowering us with their vast knowledge. Also, I would like to thank Moneylife Foundation for organizing such a great workshop for us. And now I declare the workshop to be over. Thank you.